Welcome everybody to our latest session of Scarlet Citadel. So the group actually left off in a safe place this time, which is always good. As usual, we will jump into a quick recap and then start our session proper. So guys, yeah, you actually started last session off in the village of Red Tower, so relative safety, and then quickly made your way to the Scarlet Citadel, having taken care of various downtime type of things, supplies, resting, all of that fun stuff. You guys had made the decision that you wanted to travel back into that crypt area in the first level of the Scarlet Citadel because you knew, based on the magic of Harmony, that there was some treasure there, precious metals, and didn't know exactly what the second level of the Scarlet Citadel was going to have in store for you, so decided to head that way. As you guys made your way into the Scarlet Citadel, it was uneventful, no issues with harpies or anything. Passed by and made your way to the room with the boat and the statue there. And Ushlux was there at the same time. In his typical dour demeanor, he did explain to the group that the undead were restless and unweary, as he described them. And you guys, what you guys kind of asked, well, what exactly does that mean? He said he wouldn't go that way. You guys decided to go that way anyhow, thinking, well, this is, who knows exactly how accurate this guy's information is, or maybe why is he trying to advise you not to go that way, and decided to plunge back into that crypt area. Unfortunately, there was several undead creatures, and based on what we heard last time, they were likely closer than most of the group was anticipating. So most of the group likely thought they were going to be able to go to that corridor area before encountering any undead, but it seems though many of them sort of flooded out into this area. So there was a couple at first that the group spotted, some skeletons, some shadows, one that the group has labeled the Ghost Rider, and the group fought against those opponents, but there was more and more that kept getting added, and particularly these incorporeal undead, like the shadows, that were able to just slip through the walls and strike the group when they were completely unaware that they were there or that they were coming. This meant the battle very quickly became overwhelming, and the group started to doing a tactical retreat. But unfortunately, Corin was unable to get out of harm's way as he was mobbed by so many of these undead and eventually dropped to the ground. The rest of the group did what they could, getting out of that narrow tunnel area and back into the room with Ushlux, at which point they realized that the undead did not seem to want to come through that tunnel. It's as though the area or the room with the very large statue that previously Penn had tried to deface its face, they did not seem to want to leave the bounds of that room. So there was a couple pot shots taken from the corner, that kind of thing, before the group realized there was not much else they could do there to be any success. Corin's body likewise was unretrievable because heading back in would be once again involved all of those undead creatures. So eventually the group decided they were going to back off, head back towards the entrance of the Scarlet Citadel, get a quick rest in, and then try their luck on the second floor. So as the group made their way to the north and once again discovered that doorway that leads down, they took the spiral staircase and made their way to the second level of the Scarlet Citadel. Upon doing so, they encountered a pretty ingenious trap on the circular staircase, where once the group made their way near the bottom, they triggered a floor plate. So at first Penn was in front, looking very carefully, spotted this floor plate in fact, and then tried to disable it, but unfortunately did not quite have what it took there to disable the trap permanently. So when Hugo stepped forward onto this pressure plate, it seemed as though the pressure plate itself was split into two, and this second part of the pressure plate was triggered, causing a sluice gate up above to open, releasing acid that poured down all the way down the spiral staircase. This was, as I mentioned, sort of an ingenious trap where the way this worked, the closest person to the top and then the furthest person, so the person furthest to the bottom of the stairs had to make their saves first, and then if they failed, the people next in line had disadvantage on their saves because they were all clustered. And then, of course, or I should say unfortunately, basically everybody failed the save, and everybody was struck with this acid as it rang all the way down the stairs, and then eventually hit this grated area where it collected down below. So once this had occurred, the group jumped over the grates and realized there was a second pressure plate past the grates and stood on that for quite some time, not worried that if they were to get off of it, maybe that would trigger something else happening. So eventually the group, after doing a little bit of perhaps trying to recover some wounds through some bandaging or magical means, decided to push on a bit here. And Penn also attempted to disable the second pressure plate And after Armony stepped off of it and Grask took her place, then he had his axe on it to continue putting pressure on it and stepped off of it. He was able to confirm that the disable by pen did work this time, and this pressure plate seemingly was no longer a risk. The group then continued traveling south, so there was a door to the east, and they could hear some strange sounds inside of there. As they were making some type of noise, perhaps casting a spell, that sort of thing, there was this loud, high-pitched, screeching shout coming from the other side of the door. The group decided they did not want to go that way and decided to head south instead. As they did, they passed through a doorway and found this room where there were these 3 large flasks, or vats is probably a more appropriate term here, filled with this greenish liquid. The air was covered in this sort of acrid sort of taste and feel. The noses of the characters, as they started going in, started burning slightly as they got this smell. Mechanically, no impact that the group noticed right away, but this feeling was not good. There was also a desk in this room, and the group decided to search that, finding both a notebook on the counter, or the desktop, I should say, and inside of the desk drawer, there was some potions discovered, and some writing instruments, inks, those types of things. In grabbing one of the potions and pulling it out, one of the vials of ink that was on the desk actually dumped over on its own. And in doing so, it spilled out this inkish liquid, which turned out to be some type of creature that engaged the group in combat. Over the course of this combat, the ink continued to grow larger in size as it battered against the player characters, and the group did the best they could fighting that creature off as they sort of once again made kind of a tactical retreat. Upon finally defeating this creature and seeing it just sort of turn into a much smaller puddle on the ground, the group, having taken many licks so far, decided to make their way back up and head back to the village of Red Tower. Upon exiting this area, the group had perhaps thought maybe they were going to stop by and try to discuss with Scar once again, or maybe even engage him in combat, but ultimately decided not to do that, and made their way out of the Scarlet Citadel and eventually back to the village of Red Tower. Upon returning back, there was some discussion amongst the group that the Scarlet Citadel was obviously very dangerous, and they were sort of going to keep their eyes open for maybe something else that might quote-unquote hook them on this current session. So yeah, guys, that's the quick recap. Does anybody have anything to add that I missed?
I know that I missed last week, but I just wanted to remind everybody that Elliot did find out that something about the Holzinger family used to own the Scarlet Citadel, so it may come into play. We may need to learn more information about it, but just wanted to refresh everybody.
2 sessions ago, otherwise I would give you inspiration for that. But yes,
Yes,
that
exactly.
is indeed an interesting addition. Anybody else have anything from last week they'd like to add?
Just that we sealed that door with the weird sort of giggling almost noise on the other side with a rope. We tied a rope so that the door couldn't be opened.
Yes, good addition. Go ahead and take inspiration for that, Hugo. So yes, that was the door into the whatever room that was, where they heard the sound of the very high-pitched screeches. So essentially that first room on the second floor of the Scarlet Citadel, rope was tied there to prevent somebody or someones from opening the door and taking the group from the rear.
And I think I got the red and blue ink bottles, and the other person got the other 2 potions.
Yeah, Hugo has those other 2 potions. One looks like a healing potion.
Yes, yep, collected some items from that table and were able to take some of those out of the Scarlet Citadel. Okay, excellent. If there's nothing else to add, then guys, let's go ahead and get you back over to the Village of Red Tower map, and we will pick up our session. Alright, so I was trying to remember, guys, when we left off, if the group, I know you guys had arrived back and discussed your plans, but I don't know if you guys actually retired for the day, but I'm thinking that may be the best way to start here. If you guys had retired for the day, slept, and we can start on a fresh day. Does anybody have any objections?
Nope, seems fine.
Excellent. Alright, hearing no objections, let me go ahead and apply a long rest to everybody, and this will make sure everyone's starting off fresh for this session. Okay, excellent. So what we will say is, as you guys are resting here in the Cage Inn and Tavern, I'll move us over to that screen So as you guys have woken up this morning and taken care of any personal tasks that you might needed to have done, and got yourself perhaps a small breakfast and food, that kind of thing, and start discussing with one another what your plans are, and perhaps sharing some stories of woe of the Scarlet Citadel, maybe some memories of the fallen Corrin, and discussing some things there. Perhaps even some of you, having heard of these terrible tales of how undead are created, are wondering if there is anything else that happened to Corrin back in the Scarlet Citadel. But amongst all of these different thoughts that are hitting you at the same time, you guys are sitting in your sort of typical booth here as you're enjoying a meal, and you notice that there are a few interesting folks around the common room here. Particularly, you notice that there is someone speaking with Ambrosi at the counter at the moment. And I will ask Matt if you would like to describe what your character looks like.
Sure. Renaud is a fairly tall, handsome looking individual, as you can tell from his super hot photo. He's, I guess, more or less dressed in, I guess, maybe a little bit, it's leather armor, and it's maybe a little more stylized than what you would see kind of like a town guard running around in. And he seems to be talking to Ambrosi right now. And you see Ambrosi kind of nod his head over in the table's direction with everyone sitting at it. And then Renaud turns around and kind of stares over at them, and then thanks Ambrosi, smiling now, and starts walking over. And he has a piece of paper in his hand that he holds up, and he says, "All right, which one of you is Corrin?"
Is that a joke?
I'm afraid not. That Ambrosi said that this was the group that Corrin ran with, and I have this letter from him asking him to come and join them. I'm not sure. I was hoping to talk to him.
You're a day late.
What do you mean?
It appears he perished about a day ago.
Oh, I see. I did not...
He's probably like a zombie, or I don't know, something like that now.
I apologize. I did not... He'll kind of, I guess, turn away for a moment, and then after a few seconds he'll say, "Well, I suppose then I would talk to you all if you do not mind. I received this letter several weeks ago, written, the name signed on it was Corrin. It was requesting my presence here in Red Tower. There was some job that he wanted to hire me for. Did he talk to any of you all about this?"
Maybe not specifically us about the specifics of the job, no, but he was helping us explore the levels of the Citadel. You mind me asking you how you knew Corrin, or how he knew you, rather, and to ask you for help?
That's the odd thing. I do not actually know him. I've never met him before. In his letter, he details he had a dream about me, of all things, but some certain other signs seem to confirm that for me, and I made haste to this location. It took a while to get here, however, apparently too long.
He was a dreamer.
I see. I suppose explains some things. I've never really known someone to dream about others that they had never met, but it seems this Corrin was a special person.
Didn't save him.
I assume, just knowing some of the history of this town, that You were in the Scarlet Citadel when this happened?
Well, I had to sit this last delve out, but if you want specifics, you could probably ask one of these four.
This is when Matt would be then like, what? Well, why weren't you there? Corin kind of nods and, well, Corin, Jesus, here we go. I kept opening up Corin's character sheet also and was messing around on it, and I realized that it was the wrong sheet that I was fixing. So
let it go, man.
I can't.
I even put it in that greatly titled Dead and Retired subfolder to try to avoid that.
I just saw the name Corin and I'm like, okay, I'll click this. When we get to level like whatever 8 or 10, when we can resurrect people, we'll res Corin and it'll be fine.
Are you some kind of god or something? You got some fancy looking clothing.
I am a priest by trade, I suppose, but I suppose you could say that I specialize in disposing of certain creatures. Which actually, again, just having a small amount of knowledge of the Scarlet Citadel may come in handy for your group. Perhaps that is why Corin requested my presence here.
Yeah, either that or he knew he was gonna die down there.
Oof.
He
That
wanted
would have
a
been rough.
replacement.
Maybe his dreams told him.
You think he dreamed his own death? Why wouldn't he avoid it? You know what I mean?
Maybe you can't avoid some things. Fate is perhaps set for all of us. It's hard to say. But
No,
yes.
we have been exploring the Scarlet Citadel, as you know, and we always need help if you've traveled far and you are looking for some work, but what we do is we just split everything we find between us all.
I would be agreeable to this if you all would have me. I did walk an awful fair amount of time to get here, so it would be rather foolish if I was to leave having not accomplished anything. I will join you all down there if that is agreeable.
All right. Well, I think we're taking a few days off of going down there. We've been down there a lot, and we did just lose someone. But you're welcome to hang out with us, and we can sort of see what you like, see if we're a good fit for each other.
Perhaps that would be good, and then we don't have to do it while we are in the middle of a dank dungeon being surrounded by whatever.
Grask eyes the newcomer up and down. How built does he look?
He's got an 8 strength, but he probably looks okay. Like I'd say he doesn't look like in terms of Grask looking him up and down, I'm sure Grask is going to immediately dismiss him as a weakling.
We might be making the same mistake.
Oh, come on now, Grask. How many times did Corn get us out of a sticky situation with a quick spell or two?
One less than required.
Hopefully Renard's up to the... Renade? One more time.
Renard.
I'm gonna just call you Ren. How about that? Because I ain't gonna get that.
Quick aside, when I played this guy at my original Curse of Strahd game, his last name was Uphell, but they just called him Mr. Apple, so I specifically did not put his last name on here, so it's Renard.
I understand, but you know, I'm not great with names.
Well, I'm sure after a little bit of time, we will all get used to the names. I do not know any of yours. Corin was the only one that I was aware of.
Oh, well, I guess I'll go first. I'm Eli, Elliot.
My name is
Yep.
Amini.
Name's Hugo.
It's Krask.
They call me Pin.
Oh, all right. It is a pleasure to meet you all. Again, sorry for the circumstances. Well, yes.
We have one more member. I'm sorry. Sebastian, where are you?
You notice Sebastian up at the counter looking now towards you all, and as he approaches, "Ah, yes, good to see you all again. You are not already ready to go back to the Scarlet Citadel, I hope?"
It's okay if you can't understand him. Half the time, none of us can, anyways. He's a nice guy, though.
I'm sorry, I could not hear that all the way down there. What did you say?
See what I mean?
Hello, Sebastian. I'm Renard. I think I will be joining your group.
Oh, Renard, this name sounds very familiar. There's some people back in my homeland who have names very similar.
It is a common name for my people, I think. It's nice to meet you.
And you as well. Unfortunately, I do have some many personal things to take care of, so I won't be here with you right now, but I'm sure I will be happy to see you in the future.
Sounds good. You all had some things you said you wished to accomplish today?
Well, I've got a couple of potions, so I want to make sure what they are.
And see if we can sell these inks are worth anything. Yeah.
I might be able to help identify the potions if you wish.
You know about potions, huh? And Hugo pulls the two of them out and puts them on the table in front of himself.
Not so much about potions per se, but I have access to certain, I guess you could say, spells, for lack of a better term, that will help me figure out exactly what they are.
Alright. Well, if you're gonna do it, though, the people here are a little skittish about the magics. So, if you can do it quietly, fine, but you might not want to do it right in the middle of the tavern here, because they don't like it, apparently.
I see. Perhaps if one of you have a room that I could go to, and we can look at whatever you found.
Oh, this one moves fast, huh?
I did not mean to insinuate, but I could just go to the corner, perhaps.
Well, maybe, like, while we're walking, because we do got to make our way back, right? I mean, that was the plan, right, guys?
Adam, can I cast a ritual while I'm walking?
No. You would have to have, like, somewhat calmness to do a ritual.
Sorry,
Let's just step outside. I always do my rituals outside.
I like this idea. This sunlight is always good to read by, too.
Totally.
Speaking of reading, while they're doing this, Hugo would like to pull out that notebook from that desk that they got in the Scarlet Citadel and start reading it and see if there's any sort of clues or pertinent information or anything like that.
Sure, yeah. So it sounds like you'd like to spend some time reviewing this. Go ahead and give me a blind check as you do. All right, so yeah, you're going to spend a bit of time here, Hugo, as this notebook is fairly complex and you're reading over it, and it is not simply just written or a narrative or anything along those lines. It's a lot of different numbers and symbols, and it almost gives you the impression of tracking something, but you're having to spend a significant amount of time to get any kind of glean of information from inside of it. So while Hugo is doing this at the table, I heard a couple folks say they'd like to step outside and cast a spell.
Yeah, Renaud, one of his invocations is the Book of Ancient Secrets, which lets him learn ritual spells from any spell list, and one of them he picked was Identify.
Okay, excellent. And does he have his pearl worth at least 100 gold pieces?
Oh my god. So question about that. What, if any, starting money do I have?
Unfortunately, at your level, you come in only with starting gear. It's one more level, and then you get to like 500 base gold pieces. But at 4, you just get starting gear.
Well, then I guess I don't. Before we start, however, I'm missing a ingredient that
Didn't somebody do something like that last time? I thought maybe they borrowed it or something, or from the shop and gave it back. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I have opalescent feldspar. Would that be helpful?
Don't give it to him. It's obvious. Corin owed this man money, and he intends to take it from us.
Renaud just gives Grask a look like, what? And then he just kind of shakes his head.
Sorry, Grass is kind of paranoid, man.
Well, it's a good thing to have in the world sometimes. If anyone has a pearl that is worth 100 gold, I would give it back at the end of figuring out what exactly the things are. Perhaps, actually, if no one has one, hold on. And if no one stops Renaud, he's going to go over to Ambrosi.
Yeah, so you approach Ambrosi, and you see him standing behind the counter, and he kind of inclines his head as you guys had just recently spoke.
Hello, Ambrosi. I have a question for you. Do you carry pearls of a particular value?
And you see he sort of looks down, does this sort of like tisk tisk sound as he looks under the counter. I think we can find something like that for you.
My funds are rather limited right now. I was wondering if perhaps I would be able to borrow it with the intent to purchase it. I would not take it with me. I could perhaps just use it within the site. And also as something to sweeten the deal, I could, if you come across anything that needs to be perhaps, and Renaud will lean in, perhaps magically identified, I could then assist you in the matter as well for free.
You see he looks you up and down and gives you a little bit of a curious glance. Go ahead and give me a blind check here, Renaud.
Hold on, coming. Oh, I do need to switch the name.
The type of thing you're speaking of, well, it's quite expensive. I'm afraid loaning something of such value is not something I'm in the business of doing. If you have something of value that you can trade for it, or at least give me as collateral, then perhaps we can talk. And as Renaud is having this conversation with Ambrosi, I would like the rest of the team to go ahead and throw me a blind check at this point. Okay, so Harmony, Elliot, and Penn, the three of you sitting at the counter here as you're watching, probably just looking around the room, noticing these different folks, noticing Renaud here speaking with Ambrosi. Your eyes are drawn to the door as you notice a very disheveled looking man enter, and he does so in a very conspicuous manner, as though he's very nervous perhaps, or maybe trying to avoid attention. Hard to say exactly, but as he steps through, you almost can imagine the flop sweat on his forehead as he sort of steps in, eyes very wide, looking around, seeing if he spots anything or whatever he's looking for. It's hard to say.
I'm just gonna kind of give Grask a little nudge with my elbow and point towards the character walking in. And that guy
That's
looks
a
like
shady dude.
for sure. You want me to go talk to him?
No. To what end?
Well, he's here for something.
Might be another one of Corin's debtors.
Could be. Could be somebody trying to seek something we seek, or maybe shadier, but he looks nervous.
After he enters through the doorway and you guys are having this conversation, you see he finds the booth that seems almost as far away from the door as he can, but as he steps up to this area, you notice he looks around very carefully, noticing any potential exits, looking at shutters, looking at the door. He is very much scoping this area out before he gets into the very edge of this booth, not in far at all. Looks like he's to the point where he can really make a break for it if he has to, and he takes the hood of his cloak here and pulls it down as much as he can, leans on the table, makes a fist and puts it on his chin as he does pretty much everything he can do here to try to not allow anybody to have a clear look at his face.
Alright, you guys keep an eye on me. I'm gonna go check him out.
Be careful. The man has enemies.
How busy is the tavern right now? Would you say it's got at least 10 humanoids in it?
More, yeah, I would say it is fairly busy this morning.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you.
All right, and while you're doing that, sure, yeah, that'll work. You can make a check for that.
Cool, and I'm just gonna try to slip like down and go in between the tables and things like that.
Okay.
Before Elliot leaves the table, can I cast guidance on him?
You can if you wish, but I do believe guidance has a verbal component, so just keep in mind that when you're casting spells, it's very obvious that you're doing it if it has verbal or somatic components, so you would likely draw quite a bit of attention to yourself.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up and like wave it off and be like, no, it's alright. This is what I used to do.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Elliot's a cop. That's why he wants to talk to the suspicious guy.
All right, Elliot. So you do what you can here, walking by. You're kind of doing this combination skulking / hiding behind people moving. Every now and again someone gets up and they're kind of like laughing, maybe even doing a small dance, and you just happen to like poke yourself right behind them with a silhouette to avoid attention. You're doing everything you can to get a bit closer to this guy, but you notice when you're maybe 10, 15 feet from him and trying to, again, slowly make your way, he turns and looks right at you, his eyes lined up as he has his fist still on his chin, and he meets your eyes, and you see he is like takes his hand out and puts it near his chest and looks at you very, very nervously. While back at the counter, Renaud, as you're still looking at Ambrosi, he says, "So, collateral, what do you got?"
I ain't got shit. He doesn't say that. He kind of pats himself down. I'm afraid I am a simple priest. I do not carry many things of value. You can have my holy symbol of God. Now I gotta look. Hold on.
Rornil?
Rornil. You can have my holy symbol of Rornil.
You see he raises an eyebrow once again and does again. that's not quite going to cover it, but, you know, a man such as yourself, I'm sure we can find some way of making coin out of you.
A eyebrow goes up. If you have a job I might be able to help you with.
You see he taps his fingers on the counter, looks over at you, scratches at his chin. Well, there just so happens to be a gentleman in town that has tastes that I would say maybe are a little bit exotic. If you are interested, well, he is quite wealthy, and I think both of us could make some coin off of this. Head to his house, speak to him, see what he has that he would like you to do, and if it's something you are willing to do, then we can talk.
All right. Who is this person? Where does he live?
His name is Felix. You can find him on the south side of town. Surprisingly, his home is in the shadow of the Temple of Halen.
All right. I will go and speak to this Felix. Do you want me to tell him that you sent me, or that I am just a concerned citizen?
Oh no, tell him I sent you and that you might fit the bill of what he's looking for.
All right. If it is nothing too nefarious, I think I will hopefully be able to help him.
And you notice he kind of has this slight grin on his face. Well, you can find out what it is he would request and decide from there.
All right. Thank you for your time. And then Renaud will head back to the table.
Okay, back at the table. Rest of the team, besides Elliot, who is currently looking over at this newcomer, and Renaud, who is returning to the table. What are you guys doing? I know Hugo's reading the book. How about Grask or Penn or Armony?
I'm gonna go with him to that person's house.
Okay, so as Renaud gets back, Renaud, are you filling the group in about this sort of unsavory, perhaps, proposition?
Yeah, Renaud will kind of relay exactly what Ambrosi said.
All right, so it sounds like Penn expresses interest then in traveling to Felix's house with you when you make your way there.
Yep, and Renaud will nod and say, I appreciate the company.
I come?
Certainly. Whoever wishes to come, please. I do not wish to drag you all into something that I agreed to do, but if you want to see what's going on, maybe there's something for everyone.
It sort of sounds like a trap. So be careful.
It might well be, but I've had my fair share of traps in the past, so I do not think it will be too much of a problem.
If you run into trouble, is there any way for us to contact each other so we know?
I think you'll probably know if I get into trouble. It will become very apparent.
All right, fair enough.
Hugo, don't let that man kill Elliot. I want to go watch the new guy stumble.
And Volt, you might need to turn your volume up a little bit or a little closer to the mic. I love the voice, but it's coming in real quiet.
I'll move my mic a little closer.
Perfect. That is way better.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to read here, but if Elliot gets in trouble, I'll watch his back. He's a cop. He knows what's going on.
All right. It sounds like we flash back then to Elliot, who is currently over by about 10-15 feet away from this table where this very shifty gentleman is now looking at you very angsty. Elliot, what do you do?
After he, reaches towards his chest a little bit, I'm going to put my hands up in the air. And is there a waitress close by?
Yes, there is.
I'm going to get her attention and say, hey, 2 beers over here. And I'm going to keep my hands up and I'm going to just walk in his direction.
And is your intention with this to try to act as though you were not just trying to quietly approach him? Or are you sort of giving up the fact that that's and just trying to show that you're not a harm?
Yeah, exactly. I know that my my attempt at trying to sneak up on him is done, but now it's kind of more like a sly, coy kind of, all right, you call me, let's have a conversation kind of thing.
Perfect. All right, give me a blind check persuasion to see how well you pull this off and look perhaps disarming or charming and not something he should be afraid of.
Just remember, I'm lucky.
No, you're not. So he does not look to be very eased with this. You see he shakes his head quickly and like slips out as the waitress takes your order and starts making her way. He does what he can to basically try to slide away from you quickly. Are you trying to intercede in any way?
Is he going out the door, or is he...
So he's pretty far back in the Cage Tavern Inn, so he may be headed for the door. That's pretty much any way he goes is closer to the door than he is right now.
And I know that we did like a flashover, but is my companion still at the table, or are they leaving now?
So I imagine they're still there as this is all going on, because we're kind of jumping around the timeline a little bit here, as it's like a 5-10 minute difference as you guys are taking care of these various tasks.
Perfect. I will intercede then. I'll put myself in between them and say, look, I was trying to be nice, but you're up to something.
All right, so as you attempt to do this, give me one more blind check as you try to basically get in his way, and we'll see how well that goes. All right, yes, you are able to do so, and he looks at you and tries to then go the other way as he shakes his head quickly and starts making his way again, exact opposite direction of the way you're trying to block, moving through this fairly thick crowd as there's a lot of people, so he's not shoving anybody down, but he's doing the best he can to move quickly as he's sliding through bodies. As I assume you're probably giving chase at this point?
Yeah, and I'll yell out Grask's name.
Okay, and as you do that, Grask, you certainly hear that at the table as you look and notice this man kind of coming this way quickly as he's trying to get through the crowd. His eyes then dart towards the door as you notice the door is starting to open as well, and he literally dives essentially into your lap now, Grask, as you're sitting in this booth area. He lands on your scaly legs and amongst the rest of your companions, and you guys are probably all shocked to notice this body just suddenly lands there. But as he's sort of underneath the table of this booth now, wriggling, he looks up at you, and with one uttered word, as he puts a finger to his mouth, he says, "Please."
Quiet.
And you said people just came in, right?
Yes, as you look towards the door now, you notice that there's this man dressed in armor. Looks to be made like of splint armor, and he's got a couple of blades at his side. There's this long black cloak that sort of flutters behind him from the wind of the door here opening. And as he steps in, he has this very stern expression on his face as he starts scanning the entire area. You can tell he seems as though he is looking for someone.
I will, with my hand below the table, I'll just grab onto the man and position him so that he's always out of sight of this night.
Okay, yeah, so you're trying to do what you can to prevent him from being detected. All right, so guys, this essentially is treated as a skill challenge. You can decide how you would like to, what you would like to do here. So it seems to you at the table that it looks like Grask is trying to, for lack of a better term, hide this gentleman from the man who has just entered through the doorway. So we'll start with Elliot, as you're a little bit behind and you kind of pick up on this a little bit. What would you like to do? So I think the first question is, A, do you want to try to in some way assist in preventing this man from being discovered, or do you want to try to make it where he is discovered, or what would Elliot like to do?
Based on, what I picked up on Grass trying to do, I think what Elliot would pick up on almost immediately is the character that is the knight or whatever. So I think what Elliot would try to do is do some sort of distraction in the opposite way, because he's already moving quickly. Maybe he takes off running and dives into a table and knocks a bunch of glasses over or something, but he would like to try to be very distracting.
Okay, so not trying to make it look like he's on the run from this guy, but essentially just make a scene which would draw his attention.
Yeah. Put on the whole I'm super drunk in the morning kind of thing, and, start doing little tap dances, something along those lines.
Perfect. Give me a blind check here to see if this is one success in the skill challenge. And make sure you have your token selected when you do that.
My bad.
No worries.
Let's try again.
So we have one failure on the skill challenge so far. So guys, if any of you are not familiar with how skill challenges work, everybody will have an opportunity to participate in the skill challenge. And essentially what you're doing is much like what you just heard Dylan say there. He described what he's trying to do. This is tied to a skill. If he succeeds against the DC, then that is a success. If he fails, then it is a failure. As long as the group succeeds on at least half of the checks, it is considered a successful skill challenge. Obviously, the more successes, the greater the success, and the more failures, the failure could be particularly bad. So, Grask, it sounds like you're trying to hide him. So far, Elliot, you picked one of the actual posted options here for the skill challenge. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best option, but it's one that's thought of. Same with you, Grask. This will be treated as a stealth intelligence check. It's you're trying to use your knowledge of stealth, but also in an intelligent way to prevent this guy from being seen. So please throw me a blind check. All right, and now I'm just going to compare your dex to your int. Okay, this is a success. So Grask, as you do what you can, trying to, as you mentioned, constantly move this guy little bits here and there to try to keep him out of line of sight as this guy is moving around. This seems to be successful. So far, Elliot bouncing into the counter and maybe spilling some drinks or causing a little bit of scene hasn't seemed to draw this guy's attention. We will then move next to Hugo. So Hugo, you're reading your book at this moment, obviously distracted by what's going on. How would you like to react to this encounter?
Okay, so the table gets jostled by them going underneath it. I'll close my book. I'll see what's happening. And I have two questions. This guy's wearing a cloak, right?
He is, yes.
He's a human, or is human sized, or
he is both. Yeah, he is exactly a human. Yep.
And then is there a back exit to this place?
There is not.
Okay. Is there the stairway that goes up to the rooms? Is that in a way that someone's back could be facing the majority of the crowd in the room?
Back facing the majority of the crowd. Tell me what you mean by that.
All right. Well, I'll just say what I'll try to do. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna look down at him and say, "Give me your cloak."
Okay, so let me just clarify. The guy that came through the door, he's the one wearing the cloak. The guy that dived under the table, he is not wearing a cloak. He's this shady-looking guy who looks very nervous and has uttered the word "please" as he looks up at Grask.
Okay. I guess if he isn't wearing a cloak, I will get up from the bar and I'll go to the door and see if there's any other people that might be coming looking for this guy.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, go ahead and give me a skill challenge. So a blind check here. Okay, so yes, you make your way to the door and kind of look around, poke your head out. Sure enough, you do notice a similarly attired man who, the best you can say, looks to be sort of on patrol as he's sort of walking down the dirt road here outside of the Cage Tavern and Inn. It looks like he's sort of making his way and his eyes are very focused looking around in this general area. So next we will jump to Armony. Armony, with this scene unfolding before you, how would you like to respond to the skill challenge?
We're in a booth, right?
Yes.
So I assume the table is sort of open-ended at the end of it.
Yes.
So I'm gonna stand up and stand in front of the table and lean over and chat with Grask while I'm standing. So basically blocking the view to under the table.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to perform a similar action to Grask, so I'll ask you to make a blind check. And again, this will be treated as stealth intelligence. Okay, this will be another failure. So far we've got 2 failures, 1 success, and Hugo's is still kind of hanging out there so far. Next, we will move to Renaud. So, Renaud, as you are there and having heard this unsavory proposition from Ambrosi and some of your companions suggesting they would like to go with you, this scene suddenly unfolds before you, and you take in and realize what's going on. How would you like to react?
I think Renaud will kind of take it in and look over at the gentleman in the cloak, and he'll stand up and go over to them and say, I bet you are looking for the shifty one. He was in here a few moments ago. You just missed him. He went towards the gate out of town.
All right, you have also picked one of the listed items here, Deception to Distract. Skill check, please. Yes, this is a success. So we are now currently riding at 2 and 2. As you mention this to him, you notice he looks at you, and almost without any kind of question, he seems to like accept this almost immediately and turns and starts walking towards the door. And then you see him kind of turn slightly with this, like almost second thought nature. And Pen, how would you like to react to this situation?
Did send you a message in Discord too.
Okay, sure. Yes, you can certainly do that. I'm not sure if that aids or distracts from the skill challenge one way or the other, so feel free to roll that blind check first.
All right, I thought I did. I'll do it.
Oh, you already rolled? Okay, I must have missed it then.
This is the blind check just to kind of like stand, then kind of lean over to him, cover him up a little bit to help hide him.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to do the similar thing then that 2 of your other companions were doing?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. So, yes, you do manage to succeed on that. So that is the 3rd success. So Hugo's won't matter at this point, as that is a past skill challenge. So as the gentleman turns and has this second thought, whatever it was seems to perhaps leave his mind, or the urgency of what Renaud has told him, he quickly exits the Cage Tavern and Inn.
Then Renaud will go and sit back down and kind of glance under the table and say, would you mind telling me why I just told those people to go somewhere else?
You see he looks up and, are they gone?
They have left for now.
And you notice he like kind of audibly gulps as he looks up at you. Oh, okay, good. Oh, thank you. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause you any distress, but they're looking for me.
Well, we could tell that. Why were they trying to find you?
Well, it's kind of a long story. And you see he kind of looks at you uncertainly.
We all just risked our own necks to protect you. I think the least you could do is just give us a little indication.
I suppose. You notice he kind of slouches down. He is sitting up proper now, as he seems to be a little bit nervous of Grask, as he pulls himself off Grask's legs there and kind of keeps glancing at him side-eye. But, yeah, I suppose. Well, you see, there's this kind of wealthy, noble individual here in the province, and, well, some years ago, he stole something that belonged to my family, and, well, I've been trying to get it back for a long time, but, of course, nobody in the law ever wanted to help me. They, always tried to say I didn't have enough proof and whatever. But, well, I kind of took matters into my own hands.
And you stole this item back?
Well, yes.
What was it that you stole? Or I should say, returned to your keeping?
And you see he begrudgingly reaches into his pocket, and then you see this look of nervousness comes over his face as he pulls his pocket out and looks and says, it's gone.
Well, I suppose that will help when they try and find you if you don't have any evidence on you. It was in your pocket. It is small.
Yes, and you see he starts frantically looking around underneath the table, leans over the side area where he had leapt over from originally to get here, and seems to be very nervously looking.
What was it that you were looking for there? Maybe I can help you find it.
Well, you see, my grandfather, he had this very specially crafted cloth pouch, and when it was flipped inside out, it had all of these stitchings on it, and it was said that those stitchings were the key to a puzzle cube. And I know where the puzzle cube is, and that's the solution to how to solve it. I can't believe it fell out of my pocket.
Can I help
Where's
him?
This puzzle cube thing. What is that?
Well, and you see he kind of scratches at the side of his face. My grandfather always told me that inside the puzzle cube there was this very special item. It's sort of like my legacy, you could say. It's an inheritance from my family. It's been passed down for many years, but ever since we lost the knowledge of how to open the puzzle cube and years went by, it kind of just faded from memory, or most people's memory. But I always remember the stories. I was my grandfather's favorite, and I really wanted to recover this and finally open it and see what was inside.
I'm good at opening things. Maybe I could take a crack at this cube.
No, you don't understand. It's, how to describe it? Well, you see, there's like all these different sides of it, and each one of them has all of these minute little levers and slides and discs, and to try to solve it without the pouch it's impossible.
Adam, can I trace
It's
his
impossible.
steps? Can I trace his steps back and see if I can start helping look? I'm smaller, so I'll be able to get down into the nooks and crannies.
Yes, give me a blind check as you start trying to do just that, Elliot.
Sorry for cutting you off there, Pin.
You make your way back following this trail and trying to do the best you can, and what you can see here is there's nothing really that is spilled or dropped or anything like that. If it fell out in this area that he leapt over from, somebody else must have scooped up rather quickly, because you see it nowhere.
Making that assumption in my mind, can I see if in anybody's just walk around doing an eyeball of the patrons? Does anybody seem like they recently found something, they're inspecting it, or maybe have a sweaty brow from finding it or something?
Nothing obvious. There are people still looking over towards the area where you guys all are, as obviously people noticed him leap over, and they some of them you imagine put two and two together as this sort of guard guy entered, but no, none of them that you would immediately register as they're having something to hide.
When's the last time you remember seeing it? Maybe we should go there and start from there.
I had it in my pocket when I came in here. I sat over there, and then that guy, and he points over at Elliot, he started trying to approach me and get close to me. I thought he was trying to steal it. I thought he was sent by them. So I made a break for it, but I can't imagine it would fall out. It's just a piece of cloth. I mean, I don't get it.
Well, it's obviously worth a lot.
Only to me. Nobody else really even would understand it.
How much is it worth to you?
Well, I mean, a lot, but I don't have a lot to give, unfortunately. I would have to be able to take it to the puzzle cube and open that, and then if what's inside, it might be very valuable. My grandfather used to always say that, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yes, it could be very valuable.
Well, I know that we've got wizards and people that are really good at opening things, so I really think you should let us take a look at this cube, and I bet we could open it for you.
Yeah, where is the cube located again?
It's in my grandfather's cabin. It's not too far from here. Maybe a little bit more than a few hours journey.
Perhaps if it is a few hours, we see if we can't retrace your steps and find the pouch before we go.
Not that, you're a dishonest person or anything, but my question is, if it only means something to you, then why did this nobleman steal it anyways? I mean, if it's just a cloth pouch with some stitchings.
You know how nobles are. They think everything belongs to them. They think our lives belong to them, that we are just their property to work the fields and do what they tell us to. Anything we have, they think is by extension theirs.
You know what? This sounds like a coincidence. Renaud, didn't you say you were gonna go see somebody? It could possibly be the same person?
Good question. So I did not catch your name.
I'm Grady.
Grady. Was the person that had your pouch named Felix by any chance?
No, not Felix. He's the lord of this area.
Oh, I see. All right. No, perhaps there is no connection, but I don't know. Maybe why don't you show us where you were before you came in here, and we can go looking and see if we can't find your pouch.
I don't want to draw too much attention to myself, but I was over there, and you see he points where he was, where Elliot kind of approached him, and then I just came this way. It's not more than 20 paces. There's not many places it could be.
I'm going to say, well, I'm going to make a scene here in a second, so if you don't want to be a part of it, I suggest you go upstairs or something.
Well, they're looking
Elliot,
for me.
Can I get a word with you in private for a minute?
Sure. 10.
Walk away and just get out of hearing range of everybody else. I have the pouch,
Okay.
but you don't need to know that.
No, he doesn't. But just
Maybe
I
we
can.
if you tell us where the cube is, we get the cube and a pouch.
Okay. I've got an idea then. You wanna follow along with it? I'm sure you'll pick it up quickly. So I'll walk back over and I'll walk up to, what'd you say his name was? Gracie? Grady. I'll say, Grady, look, my friend here, he's, as you can tell, he's not feeling well, but my plan is, as a former investigator, I'm going to interview the people of this here tavern. Now, if you don't want me, outright pointing at you and showing them it's you, I suggest you probably make your way back to your grandfather's cabin. Now, for me to be able to bring the cloth to you when I find it, I'm going to need to know the location of said cabin.
I mean, I could try to describe it to you, but there's no way I can get out of here. Do you know how many people are out in the town looking for me? I thought I would be safe here. This is like a backwater village that very few people come to, but they found me.
Well, fair enough, but I did rent a room for you. You want to take the key and just go wait up there, and we'll go from there?
And you're not going to turn me in?
Well, why would we? I mean, I don't know this noble you speak of, and sounds like he stole something of yours.
Give me a blind check here, Elliot, as you're trying to persuade him. And you see he shakes his head very nervously. No. I can't do that, no. We have to come up with a better plan.
That's about all I got. I mean, unless you want to interview the people of this here bar.
Well, I really want the pouch back. I'm wondering if I remember enough of it that maybe I would have at least a small chance. But I can't remember the one set. But I have to get out of here. Maybe you all could help me get out of here.
If it appeals to all... Yeah, I couldn't see that being an issue.
Grady, you seem like you are in great need. I think we could probably help you out.
Okay, well, what is your plan though? Because, like I said, they're out. They're like patrolling and everything. They're looking for me. Well, what can you do to make sure they don't find me?
You could enter the room.
And then?
Wait.
For what? I don't imagine it's easy to get out of one of those rooms. I'd be like a stuck rat, cornered. Where would I go if they found me?
Well, if you say their numbers are as high as you say they are, then we'll need to leave. We'll
I'm
have to
pretty
go.
good at disguising people. I got a disguise kit. I could probably make you look like anybody in here.
Yes, that's a good plan. That makes sense.
We'd still need to memorize the patrols, risk the ability
Make
of
them
that
look like,
disguise failing.
Why? They're not looking for you. They're just looking for me. If they don't see me because I look like somebody else, then that would work.
And then, can you lay low at your grandpa's cabin?
Yes. Yeah. I don't
Make
think
him look
anybody
like
knows
Elliot.
about it but me.
No, wait, no, Elliot, not Elliot. Who's the dead guy?
It was
Corin.
Corin, yeah. How about I make him look like Corin?
That might be a bit traumatic, but alright. Alright, well, let's usher him up into the room.
Well, before we do any of that, I mean, you're asking a lot of us to hide you and disguise you and then usher you out of the city and give you safe passage back to your grandfather's cabin and then bring you this cloth bag that supposedly unlocks some powerful artifact of your history, all of which we're going to do for free.
What? I didn't say it was a powerful artifact. I don't know where you got that. I just said it might be valuable.
Well, tucked away in a puzzle cube for generations. That sounds like something that is at least interesting. No wonder that noble was looking for it. I mean, are you absolutely sure that they didn't know? Because all of this could be for naught if they're already there at your grandfather's cabin.
No, there's no way. No, nobody knows where my grandfather's cabin. It hasn't been used in at least 7 or 8 years now. I can't promise you any riches because I don't know what's in it. And if you get me out of here, obviously I'll do what I can, but I don't have anything to for surely promise you. I mean, I'm pretty talented at woodworking. I don't know if that's interesting to you.
No.
You never know when a good crafted rocking chair might come in handy. Perhaps we help our friend out, and then depending on what we find, when we finally get to unlock the device, that we either perhaps get the cut of whatever it is, if there's something valuable, or you owe us a favor to be reclaimed at another time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That would work. If you can get me to the cabin, and if we can figure out a way to open the puzzle cube, we don't have the pouch. That's the biggest problem. But if somehow we can figure that out, then I can tell you the other part my grandfather told me, and that I think you'll be much more interested in that. But not until we get out of here.
I think we must go a little bit on faith here, my new friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we'd probably be able to figure it out, but can't promise nothing.
Oh, okay, so up to the room that you're going to put a disguise on me? And he points at Penn. And that's going to allow me to just slip out of here?
That's
I
the
think
plan. Yeah.
so. Just come with us. Fit it.
Yep, that's the plan. Should work fine.
Oh, okay, I hope you're good at this. I'm trusting you.
Harmony, I can help. I can cast guidance before you do the disguise and see if that helps. Should I come up with you guys?
I could cast guidance myself.
Oh,
yes.
never mind.
Fancy new level of cleric there. All right, so it sounds like Penn and Grady for sure are heading upstairs. Is there anybody else going up with them?
Yeah, I need somebody to cast like a good eye so they know that he can't be recognized. So the second pair of eyes, wouldn't hurt.
I will go with you, Ben, if that will help you. I have been known to have a discerning eye when it comes to certain things.
Okay,
right,
so it sounds like Penn, Renaud, and Grady start making their way upstairs. So you guys extricate yourself from the booth area, push through the little bit of crowd here carefully, and start making your way up. Finding one of these rooms that you guys have rented and popping on in. Penn, you're able to break out your disguise kit here, and I assume you're trying to make this essentially disguise him, so he certainly does not look like him himself, right?
Yep. Now, do I just do the normal disguise kit thing, or is blind check?
You'll do a blind check, but go ahead and roll that D4 for your guidance. Okay, so yes, you spend about 10 minutes or so here, Penn, applying these various makeups, maybe modifying the hair, doing some, changing of the skin tone with other types of powders, and really doing everything you can to really try to make this guy look very different than what he looks. Even some of the, like his scar that goes across his face, you find a way of using, again, some of these makeups and powders to like flush it out, maybe even it out a bit more and make it where the scar's almost undetectable. So yeah, Renaud, as you're watching this, it looks like a complete transformation. It seems like you wouldn't even recognize this guy had you not just watched all this activity.
Renaud will give him the not bad nod, and he'll say, I think you have done very well, Ben. Good job. I don't recognize him at all.
All right, now let's go stash him at the cabin.
Let's see.
All right, rest of the group down at the table. Anything you're doing during this time?
I wanted to go speak to the Ambrosi. He's like the tavern keeper, bar keep, right?
He is, yes, yep. You notice him once again up at the counter, serving drinks and doing orders and that type of thing.
I'm gonna just pop up onto like one of the little bar stools and say, "Hey, Ambrosi, I'm from Proudglaive, so I grew up with like the Black Baroness and things like that. Who's the lord of this here region?"
And you see he looks at you kind of curiously. The lord of this region? What do you mean? The Baroness rules everything here.
Oh, okay. Well, I had met a character the other day. He said that there was a nobleman around that kind of ran this area. I guess I was under the same suspicion you were. I thought Black Baroness kind of handled it all, but I don't think she'd be particularly interested in finding out someone is trying to usurp her. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, there's a bunch of different people who are related to the Baroness one way or the other. Many of them would be like baronets or lords and various titles, that kind of thing.
Oh, well, who's the closest to here in Red Tower?
Well, there's a family in this province that kind of is important. There's a few of them. I don't know if I can tell you exactly who you're thinking of.
He's a male, and he's a man. I know that, so it would be a baron. You got any names for me?
I'd have to check through some of the documents I got stashed away here. Only really pull these out when really important things come up. What's this going to involve? Is any kind of tip or something you can roll out?
Well, I can give you a couple gold pieces, and how about I make the promise the next thing we find in the Citadel, we sell it to you. No price bartering.
You see he chuckles and says, well, your last friend already agreed with that, but I don't see him around anymore.
Well, that's my point.
So what you're telling me is that every time one of you guys, doesn't make it back, I've got to change the deal again?
I don't think that's what I meant at all, but Well, all I'm saying is that the next couple of pieces, we'll bring them right to you to sell to you at the price you deem fair, and I'll give you 2 gold pieces now.
Well, I suppose that's appropriate, but I want to see this next item before too long. Hand over the gold.
Here.
I got those 2 bottles of ink. Guy, I don't know. You can have them.
So yep, during this time you would still be upstairs, Penn. So
Okay.
yeah, not in this conversation. But yeah, so I assume Elliot, you hand over those couple of pieces of gold.
Yes, I subtracted them from my sheet here.
Well, you see, here in the province of Edlin, there is the family that is most known for this area is the Bordlings. I believe the top guy's name is Sven Bordling.
Thank you. Now, we're gonna go procure some items. You be safe, alright, Ambrosia? I appreciate you.
All right, I will look forward to you returning with this item.
As I walk away, Adam, I'm gonna try to recall in my memory of any historical knowledge I remember of this Sven Bordling.
Sure, yeah, give me a blind check. Oh my goodness, man! I don't think I've seen rolls this bad in a while. You
I
do
know.
not.
I don't want to refresh roll 20 because I may break out great rolls when we're fighting.
Oh, this is bad. No, you do not recall anything, Elliot.
Sounds about right. So Elliot's gonna just make his way back to the table for now.
All right. Anybody else at the table doing anything before everybody rejoins down in the common room?
I'm just gonna. Is it possible that Hugo got the potions back after Renaud couldn't identify him, or does Renaud still have them?
I don't even think I took them, did I? Or did I?
I think you guys
Not-
discussed popping outside to do this, and you guys hadn't even made it outside yet. So I'd say up to you who
Yeah.
you want to have them.
Well, I'd like to take him to Ambrosi and just have him look at him and possibly tell me what they are if he has the ability to do that. So.
Okay, sure. So you're taking all 3 of them? I'm trying to remember. I think Penn had at least one of them.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't
just
get any of the
the
potions. I
2
got
that
2
Hugo
bottles
has.
of ink.
Oh, Penn had the inks, right? Okay. So Hugo, then you have all 3 potions.
Well, I think he had one from when he took it, and that's what made the monster come at us.
That's what I was thinking too, but I didn't remember if he handed it back or not. Penn, do you still have the one?
No, I would have I handed it to him.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
So let's assume
okay.
Hugo has all 3 then. Okay,
Okay,
so yes, you
so-
take those up to Ambrosi and essentially you're just putting them on the counter and ask him if he can tell you what these are.
Yeah, there's a gold piece in it for you if you can tell me.
You see he sort of chuckles for a minute and says, you don't know what it costs to have things identified, I presume.
I mean, could cost nothing. It's all up to you. I don't know.
No. See, identifying things like this, it's not just knowledge based on memory. I can't tell you what it does by looking at it, but I do have what I like to call a testing kit, and that uses a little bit of materials, resources, and then I can tell you what it does. So, of course, there's a cost involved. Let's see. Usually, I charge 10 gold pieces to identify a potion, but for you, I'll make it 9.
9 for all 3. We have a deal.
9 for all 3. Oh, that would be... Go ahead and give me a blind check. He chuckles once again. You must be kidding. The components themselves would be more expensive than that to tell you what all 3 do.
All right. Well, this one, I think I might know what it is already.
And I presume you're looking at the reddish one that reminds you of a potion of healing?
Yeah.
And he nods towards you and says, I think you probably are right, but do you know how potent it is?
The way we got hit, we're gonna need it as potent as it can be.
Maybe you don't need that one identified then. So how about the other 2? 18 gold pieces?
All right. We got a deal.
All right, and I assume you hand this gold over to him.
Yep. 18 gold.
Okay, excellent. So yes, he will take some time here looking them over, takes them sort of into the back. This process that he told you about, he's very secretive about it, doesn't want you to see everything that's involved. You're not sure quite why. But after about 10 minutes or so, he does come back out with a little bit of perhaps perplexed look on his face, and he says, well, this one here is a potion of acid resistance. Might be kind of helpful if you're planning to go back to the Scarlet Citadel. This other one here is pretty unique. I've got a vague idea of what it does based on how it's reacted to the reactionary components and stuff, but I can't say exactly, but I can give you the general gist.
Right, I'll take it.
So when you drink this, it will actually turn you into like an ooze. But you won't be dead. Like, you'll be able to control yourself as an ooze. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beginning to at this point. Yep.
Well, I'm sure you'll agree that was money well spent, right? You are much more well equipped to know what these are now.
Yes, definitely. Alright, I appreciate your help. And, hopefully this healing potion isn't secretly poisonous or something. That would be crazy. Alright, talk to you later.
As you're walking away, you hear, you could find out for the low price of 9 gold.
Maybe after we get back from wherever we're going.
He gives you the, snap the finger, point at you, and gives you the nod, like, yep. Okay, so everybody. I want to make sure I got everybody. I think we haven't heard anything from Grask yet, or maybe Armony. Grask, is there anything you're doing at this time?
Is Armony at the table with me?
Yeah.
I don't like this, Harmony. I didn't get this far by sticking my neck out.
Well, you keep going back to Scarlet Citadel, so...
I suppose it would be
you don't-
better than that.
So you don't trust this, the guy they're disguising?
My trust is rare.
That's for sure. Harmony looks at the book that Hugo is reading and says, reading is just staring at a piece of dead wood for hours and hallucinating.
Agreed. It's pointless.
Yeah, man. I like you, Grask.
You guys are never gonna guess what these potions do.
Does it turn you into a harpy?
This one turns you into like some kind of slimy ooze. But you still have your own brain.
That's crazy.
Do you turn back after, a certain time frame, or you just from now on ooze?
You know what? Didn't tell me that.
Interesting.
And you paid for that service.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise we'd drink it thinking it would do something and you turn into a big ooze. That might be not the best time. Don't worry, once we open this box or whatever, 9 gold will seem like nothing.
All right, and as you guys are having this conversation, like every scene out of a teen rom-com, you notice a very attractive looking man steps down the stairs to upstairs. He is not Grady, but at the same time is Grady. Only Penn and Renaud would recognize that he is indeed Grady. The rest of the team, does not look anything like the guy you had just met briefly before. As the group returns and everybody gathers at the table, so everybody's once again joined together and I imagine discussing what your next steps are.
Who's the new guy?
I think the disguise is working pretty well, Ben.
Yep. So I think what we're gonna do, we'll stash him at the cabin, and then we'll go trace his steps back to the property of the. Well, first we try and open the box, but then we go back and we could trace it all the way back, and maybe he dropped it somewhere when he was running through the town.
If that works for you, perhaps we should call you something else than Grady, because they might know that name.
Yeah, you can call me Brant. I'm gonna try a different voice too. How's this?
Very different.
It's great.
Maybe
Don't
just
let-
don't say much.
Yeah, how about we limit the talking?
Oh, that's even better.
Now, before we just go out here, how far of a journey do we have ahead of us? Do we need to buy any supplies?
Well, it's gonna take like 3 to 4 hours on foot from here to get to the cabin.
Oh, that's not that far.
No, it's not too bad.
Now, are you sure you don't want us to know the location of the cabin just in case we get caught and we can escape and you cannot?
No, because if I get caught and you don't, then I'm hoping you come back and rescue me. And if I tell you where it's at, you might just leave.
I'm gonna sigh and say, it really does sound like we're doing a lot for you and we're not getting much in return, but you don't deserve to just be chased and killed, I suppose.
Well, like I said, maybe what's inside will be really valuable and we'll all be, well, I won't say really rich, but maybe we'll all get, like, better.
Maybe.
One way to find out, yeah. I guess we just risk it for the biscuit, as they say.
Perhaps should I go talk to this Felix and just get an idea of what they want in case it might be in a similar direction to where we are going? I can just talk to him when we come back as well.
I don't think we should add an extra pit stop if we're trying to escort.
When we get back, then I will inquire with him.
Grant. Is your new name is Grant, right?
I said Brant, but sure, yeah,
Oh.
Grant works too.
Oh, Brant. Brant, can you turn around for a second? I have to confer with my companions here.
Oh yeah, I saw kind of a pretty lady over there. Maybe I'll walk in to see what she says.
Well, keep your head down, all right? All right. All right, everybody. Is there anything that a one-word answer will help us with this guy? I can cast a spell that will make him answer me.
Nah, I think we're good. Give him a
Alright.
wink.
All right.
Real quick, do any of you all know anything about the board links? You know, I spoke to Ambrosi and he said that that's one of the more, I guess you could say, reigning lords of this area, Sven Boardling. I wonder if that's our person's pursuer.
I am not familiar with anyone in this section. I'm not. Yeah, sorry.
If anybody is proficient in history, you can make a blind check here for more information.
I am, actually.
Hugo and Renaud, surprisingly enough, this name perhaps rings a bell to you because there was this Ryuric warrior known as Harold Boarding, and he was kind of a famous lieutenant of the Black Baron. And when Rosone, the domain that you guys are currently in, was originally formed, he was famed far and wide for the skill with which he wielded his mighty axe. Sven Boarding is the great-grandson of Harold Boarding.
Oh, actually, now that you mention it, I think I do know vaguely who this person is. And Renaud will throw that out.
Are they mean, tyrannous? Do they seem like the kind of oppressors that this man makes them out to be?
Well, they're part of the establishment, that's for sure.
I imagine that to be very good with an axe, you probably have to be a little mean, so I don't know.
So I'll also add a little bit more context here based on how well you guys rolled. I'm actually going to take us over to the Rosone map for just a moment.
Wow.
So, based on these names that are given, this is the province you guys are currently in, which is Dwerlin, and obviously here's Red Tower. The Boarding family is actually known to rule the province of Edlin. Their headquarters are in Delian Gap here. So based on this information that you've received from Grady, he's saying that the ruling family of Edlin has essentially sent people to chase him down. He tried to get here and hide in this, what he called the backwater village here of Red Tower, and it seems as though they have followed him from there.
Oh.
From
Nice.
the north. Edlin.
Does anybody have any other provincial or historical questions before we slip back over to the Cage Tavern and Inn map?
How many days of travel would that be?
So you can generally walk about 3 miles per hour. So if you think of it in those terms, 30 miles or 24 miles in a day is pretty typical journey. And obviously this is not like the crow flies, so as you can probably tell, you might have to zoom in a little bit on this map, but there is a river right next to Red Tower, or fairly close, so you would have to do one of these kind of deals, cross the bridge, and then make your way over here. So it's probably a good day and a half all told.
I like that we all have things trying to measure out.
I assume. Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah. I assume Lake Duer is not the pond that we pass on our way to Scarlet Citadel, right?
Correct, yes. So the area where you guys are, so where Red Tower is to where the Scarlet Citadel is a super short distance. So if you remember, it's about, it's like a short of 2 hours away from the village of Red Tower to the actual Scarlet Citadel. So you're looking at, somewhere like, this area here.
Cool, thanks.
Sure.
Is it a safe assumption for lords of these different provinces to be of famous bloodlines, Adam?
Good question, but no. So you would know that rulers of domains, meaning all of Rosone here, yes, guaranteed those people are blooded because they have to be. The history and the mythology of this world says that you cannot rule a domain without a bloodline, otherwise the land will actually turn against you. But when it comes to sort of helping the domain ruler in the capacity as a lieutenant or just overseeing a portion of a province and taking care of things like that, no, they don't have to be blooded.
When we finally meet another blooded person and we kill them to take their powers, I'm definitely going to say there can be only one when we do it.
That is part of the inspiration of this whole campaign. So yes, it's very appropriate.
Excellent.
Well, we better be careful with this, though. You know what I mean? They're powerful people. And we're just getting a little bit of money out of this, hopefully, but let's not spread it around too much, so we did this.
Well, I also think we should have a plan B here, like, if things aren't going our way with this character, maybe we turn them in and get money from the other characters. We at least know they got it.
If you do that, I will not probably should show my face. I have already talked to them and steered them in the different direction.
We'll call that emergency backup plan R.
Ah, yes.
For our
Radical.
Yes, both of those words will be appropriate.
My name starts with an R as well.
This is ridiculous. Should we get his attention and just go ahead and make our way?
Yeah, let's do it.
Grant, what? Come on, we're going.
All right, you call him back and get ready to make your exit from the Cage Inn and Tavern. I'm going to tell you guys this was actually designed to be another skill challenge where you could do various things such as try to distract the guards, try to observe their patrol routes in order to make a most opportune time. But due to how well Penn rolled on the disguise, nobody recognizes this guy in the slightest, so you guys can walk essentially unhindered through Red Tower.
Great job, Penn.
Okay, and with that in mind, is it safe to say you guys are exiting from the village of Red Tower and following Grady's directions to go to his grandfather's cabin?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So as the group makes their way out here, I will say you spot about 6 different men dressed in similar attire. They're not together. It looks like each of them individually are poking around the village of Red Tower in different areas here. In fact, I can show you really quick where they were all positioned so you guys can see the challenge that you would have had to try to get out of here, being that they would only have been revealed to you once you got somewhat relatively close to them. And they were going to be, again, little sort of mini challenges, you might say, to try to spot you and or distract you or something in order to find Grady himself. But as you guys make your way out, you will of course avoid all that. And as you get outside of the village of Red Tower and start making your way northwest, away from the village of Red Tower, with Grady leading the way, that is where we'll go ahead and pause for our 15-minute break, folks.
All right.
I'm going to say a couple of rituals to get my dice rolling better. See if they work.
Sounds good. All right, see everybody back in 15 minutes.
Team
All right.
15.
Welcome back to the second half of our session here. The group has just left the village of Red Tower and is in the process of traveling overland and following their erstwhile companion, Grady. So I'm actually going to take us to the map of Rosezone as the group is traveling overland.
Adam, while we're walking, since we have a new character in our little group here, can I, using my bloodline ability, can I take a good old whiff of my surroundings and see if it detects anything?
Yes, search around this area to the limits of that ability, nothing is picked up.
10-4. Thank ya. One of these days I'm gonna smell something, you know?
I am sure you will. Okay, group, so yes, as you're making your way over land, and maybe I'll grab us a quick indicator just so we have a rough idea where everybody is. So we use Harmony on the Village of Red Tower map, so let's pick someone different here. I'm just doing a random selection. Why don't we do Hugo? Hugo will be our indicator for this map. And we'll make Hugo a little bit smaller. Okay, so group, as you're traveling from Red Tower, following Grady, moving through this sort of wooded area here and getting further and further away from the Scarlet Tower, you travel for a good 2, maybe closer to 2.5 hours moving through the woods. The woods are very calm here. You can hear the sound of animals moving around you, squirrels, chipmunks. You can hear the sound of birds every now and again. Occasionally a crow will caw, or you'll hear a strange songbird sound off in the distance. Overall, it seems very peaceful here, not like the woods just outside the Scarlet Citadel that had this sort of foreboding sense to it. During this time, as you're getting a bit further away, Grady is sort of chatting back at you guys on the duration of this trip, and he says, well, now that we're, a little bit outside of the village of Red Tower, I was trying to tell you, I wanted to make sure we got out of here, though. But yes, that was great, by the way. Penn, I think your name was? Yes, nobody would recognize me. I don't even think my grandpa would recognize me like this. But, so what I was trying to tell you before, you see, Grandpa's stories, well, he told them to me, and of course my dad used to say that they were all just bupkis. I don't know exactly what bupkis is, but I think it means not real. But yeah, well, see, Grandpa said that when he was a little boy, he had found this strange cave, and it was like really short, but really weird looking, and he went into this cave, and he said he heard a voice from the shadows. And the voice spoke to him of this sort of like great power and stuff. And, well, whatever the voice gave to my grandpa, that's what's in the puzzle box.
Did your grandfather say what the voice actually said to him?
Oh, yes. See, he used to tell my sister and I this story, and he wouldn't tell it when the other parents were around. And the parents just told us it was like stories to scare kids. But he said the voice was like a ride on a whisper on the back of the ass of a cat's hair, or something like that. And he said it was like gravelly and just very. He used to say that sometimes when he walked past a graveyard, he would hear that voice again, but only in his mind.
The thing that we might find inside of your box might be dangerous, if that is true.
Maybe.
Something to think about.
Yeah, but see, the trick is he told me that if things ever got really desperate, I could open the box and take the item inside and take it back to the cave, and if we gave it back to whatever had that voice, he said that he would get back a great treasure.
If you don't mind me asking, why are you so desperate as of now to try this? I mean, is it the bold quest that you run from, or the boldlings? I'm not too good with my history. Is that who you run from?
Well, they are the ones that sent people after me. I think that's their names, the rich people.
That's a far way to run for a chance. I mean, why are you so desperate?
And at this point, he actually pauses for a moment, looks at you, and he says, you see, I'm getting up there in age. I'm almost 35 now. And I'll tell you, all my life I have worked hard every day, back-breaking work, working on the farm, working in the guild halls, working anywhere that they were told me that I had to work. And I just work day after day after day and rarely get any time of rest. There's even been times of religious holidays where I've had to work. I can't believe that this is all life is meant to be. But you see, my grandfather, he used to believe differently. He said we had to live off the land and we had to make our own luck. And he said that a man had to be true to his own heart and find his own way in this world. And that is what I want. I don't want to be just some lackey, some servant of some rich people that tell me what to do every day of my life. If this treasure can bring me some money, then I can make my own life. I won't have to just do what they tell me.
Well, let's just hope we can split it
That's
7
pretty
ways.
funny.
And you see he looks towards you, Pat, and he says, but I mean, look at you. You don't have someone telling you what you do, right? You're not being forced to do what you get to do whatever you want.
To spit up a bunch of blood. Does this look like I could do what I want? Just vomit a big thing of blood in front of him.
He does like recoil from the as he steps away and looks at it and says, well, maybe you're not the best example, but one of these guys for sure.
Actually, the reason why I'm traveling with them is because my twin brother was kidnapped in the dead of night. So my only choice right now is to find him. Does anybody else want to keep going with this, Hugo? Should you continue? I mean, Look, Grady, we're not trying to pin nothing on you, and we're not trying to make it out like you're some bad guy, but you've got to understand, you've got lords and ladies after you. We're doing this for free for the chance of you getting rich. Um,
Well, no,
why?
I
No,
already
we're
said.
splitting it.
Well, I mean, I already said we'll share it. We got to see what it is first, and then I don't know how much money it's going to be worth. So we're going to have to see.
Well, I can't wait to get to the bottom of this. It's quite a mystery.
Can you fight? You have any skills with magic? I mean, if Renard here is true and saying that whatever's within that box may be dangerous, then, we just lost a friend to some undead gravelly voices that came from a pit. So, can you defend yourself, or are you going to get in the way of that?
I'm pretty fast. I can run away pretty quick, but no, I'm not like some warrior or nothing. I've been working all my life on the farm and in the guild hall.
If you think that fighting for every meal you get is freedom, then yeah, we're free.
Well, then, maybe if we get enough money, this will get freedom for everybody.
I think we should do an even split. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us. Whatever we find, we should split 7 ways. I mean, that sounds fair.
Whoa, wait a minute. Come on now. No, you see, this is my grandfather's treasure. I was thinking more like split 2 ways. I get half and you guys get half.
But you don't even have the key to opening the box anymore, Grady. We gotta figure that out.
That's true.
That's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
know.
work.
I'm trying to remember. I know there's the one that's by the eagle's talon goes the counter way, but yeah, we're gonna have to see because without the pouch, I mean, this might just all be for naught in the first place. Let's just get there, okay? We'll figure it out when we get there.
Sounds like a best plan we've got, unfortunately.
I agree.
All right, you guys keep walking, following Grady as he makes his way closer and closer to this ultimate destination. You start to notice a bit of a change in the scenery here. The woods gives way to a bit more of a plains type area, a bit more of a clearing, and before you know it, after about another hour and a half or traveling or so, you start to spot a bunch of downed pines that look very dry and dead. And shortly later, you come upon the cabin. Well, let me do a quick check, make sure the dynamic lighting's on. I want to make sure that I don't mess that up because that's no fun when the map is all revealed. Oh, it is. Good. All right. You come upon the cabin.
Grady, you said no one lives here anymore, right?
Right. Not for a long time.
Maybe one of us that is good at looking at these things can confirm that there is nothing that has taken up residence.
Adam, under my presumption, if it's on the map, I can see it, right?
Correct.
I'm going to lean over to Grask and say, oh, if anything, Grask, I see about at my 12 o'clock here, about 100 feet away, there's a rather big stag, it looks like. At least we got some meat.
Someone should kill it.
Perhaps you will. Well, let us go and see what is inside first, and then we can go and get some dinner.
No. The beast first. You'll scare it off.
They're beautiful.
Up to you if you wish to maybe awaken anything that might be in the cabin. Go ahead.
Yeah, are those your deer there, Grady?
No. I mean, this is like wildlands, so animals move around and stuff, but no, I don't have any pet deer. I haven't even been here in several years.
What's with these trees? Did you fell all these and not use them?
No, last time I was here, this wasn't like this. These were all like normal standing trees.
Can I investigate the trees and see why they're like this?
Yes, if you'd like to approach one of them, you can make a blind check and see if you can determine anything for the cause.
I'm gonna kind of walk at her like 4 o'clock, like I'm on guard duty, Adam, with my crossbow drawn.
I'm gonna try and move silently to about here. Try not to scare the deer.
Sure, yeah, you can make a blind check as well. Harmony, as you approach one of these downed pine trees and start to investigate it, very much like it looked, it is completely drained of any kind of moisture. It looks like it's been dead for quite a long time. And as you investigate the place where it sort of has snapped from the stump or the trunk of the tree, you can tell that the loss of water in this tree was not just from age. It's sort of like it happened incredibly rapidly. It was just drained of all of its water, and that caused it to desiccate and collapse.
Guys, this is real weird. It's like the moisture was just sucked out of these things in one go.
Everybody hydrate. Drink all the water you can right now.
Does the air feel dry?
No.
Do you think I should talk to these deer and ask them if they've seen anything weird around here?
That's gonna kill him.
Such opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Maybe
I
let's
said
talk
we
to
should
him
kill him.
first.
Well, I'm not gonna make friends with them if you guys are gonna murder them. But if you're gonna murder them, you better eat all the meat.
Grass said it's up to him. I mean, it looks like he could eat a whole one.
The meals at the tavern never have enough.
Well, come on, guys. Are we going to head into the cabin? And the front door is right there.
Should I take a shot at the deer? I got him in my sight.
Up to you.
Sorry, these guys are excited about a hunting trip. They don't leave town very often.
There's more than one, Pen, so how about we at least make sure nothing's waiting for us inside, and then we could maybe see if we can hit it out the window.
So, Pen, as you post up here, you are looking in this direction. You're trying to be sneaky and not be detected as you're moving through all of these downed limbs, but unfortunately, the deer does know that you are there. And as you fire this shot off, seeing the arrow come, yes, you notice that it starts fleeing very quick to the north.
Sorry, got away from me.
Almost. All good. I could use some meat, though. I think Graska's right. Maybe a hunting trip in these woods afterwards would be a good idea.
Pen, if you can do your pointer and just put it somewhere down below and then let go, it looks like it got stuck up there. I just want to make sure it's not distracting anybody. There you go, thanks.
Do we see any windows or anything like that on the cabin, Adam?
You do not.
And here in this front area where the door is, can we make out any kind of tracks or footsteps or any kind of impressions other than what animals would leave?
Give me a blind check as you try to do just that. You don't notice any human or boot type of footprints. You definitely notice what you would consider to be animal footprints or animal hoof prints, and there seems to be quite a lot of them. In fact, you notice even looking at the door, it seems as though the door itself has kind of been damaged or carved based on maybe someone pawing at it or something along those lines.
Well, that's curious. It looks like the animals were trying to break in too. And there's a lot of them.
So I'm thinking it's got to be that cube thing, and as soon as we get it, they're all gonna come trying to kill us.
Or maybe there was several salt licks left inside of the house. I don't know.
Can I take another big whiff at him?
Yes, and as you scan around for anything along those lines, no, nothing detects.
Grask is he's looking at the trees, thinking about what Armini said about the humidity being drained from them, and he turns back to the group and he says,
Goran, what animal could?
and he scans the group real quick, and he locks eyes with Hugo.
Hugo, what could drain humidity like that?
Magic. Extreme cold, possibly.
I wonder if these deer can sense something that we can't. Harmony, what do you think?
Are they still over there?
There's some on this side.
Wait, where are you seeing deer?
Oh, sorry, they were there a second ago. They must have ran away.
Weird. Well, if we see one, I could try to talk to it.
There might be one inside from the looks of these hoofprints.
I don't quite know if they ever made it in. I mean, look at the scarring on the door there. Looks like they were trying. Well, Grady, this is your house, I guess, technically, so you first.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You see, Grandpa, well, he didn't really trust people very much, so he always had these like booby traps. So yeah, let me make sure to disable that. You notice he approaches the door here and kind of leans down and runs his arm along the door frame on both sides and starts like moving some things that are hard to make out as you're trying to, maybe peek over his shoulder or just noticing from this direction. And eventually you hear him listening. He's like, I think that's got it. Yeah, that's got it. Go ahead, head on in.
After you, my good man.
Okay, I guess. You notice he like reaches forward very gingerly, very slowly, opens the door and like starts to open it with almost like a wincing look on his face. Oh, lovely. And the script did not work. All right, I'll move that one for now.
Shocker.
I'm telling you, it's always hit or miss on these guys.
There's nothing like trying to open doors in Roll20, man. It always drives me crazy.
I gotta do the script every time. For some reason, it's broke.
Doors in D&D in general.
Like
All
in
right.
some of the modules, like the line for the door is like so small, and you gotta like end up zooming in like 500% just to get it to drag out of the way.
I know I hate those. That's why I redraw all the doors my way, because I can't stand it when they're like that. All right, yes, you'll notice he enters and starts scanning around the room here. This is a pretty large-sized cabin. Those of you that start to enter will realize, as most cabins obviously aren't this size. Grask, as you enter, I would say the first thing that probably catches your eyes, you notice a bit of a glint from the light coming through the door. That over here, this is like a very large, almost like mantelpiece, think of it as, and posted very prominently above the mantle is a shiny metallic object that catches your eye.
What's its shape?
And as you look towards it, and Grady notices you look towards it, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's Pop's chakram."
Is what?
Well, you see, my sister, he always used to call Grandpa Pop Pop, and he liked that nickname, and, well, that was his, like, little trick toy that he used to do, like, tricks with and stuff, and so we all just called it Pop Pop Chakram.
What tricks does it do?
Oh, well, Grandpa was really good at it. Like, he could take it and, like, throw it, and it would, like, go in a big circle, and it would hit different things. Like, he would, like, maybe put a bag of flour on a post, or he would put, like, a piece of cloth, and it would, like, hit these things and then come back to his hand.
Show me.
Oh, I don't know how to do it. It was Grandpa's thing. I'm not good with it.
Sounds magical to me. Now, why don't we go ahead and show us where this cube is you were talking about?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to find it. I know he left it around here somewhere. Just start looking. Just don't break anything, okay?
Did Pop Pop have more than one trap that he left? Or was it just usually the door?
Well, both doors. But yeah, just don't go to the other door. Just look around.
I'm gonna go into this room here, Adam, and start searching through this area here. Before I do, I'm just gonna do a once-over of most of the things in the room that I can with, my thieves' tools, seeing if I find any little wires or trip plates or anything that kind of pokes out as trappy.
Sure, yeah, go ahead and give me a blind check as you attempt to do that. Alrighty, so you scan this room looking for anything out of the ordinary, looking for any kind of traps, and no, you don't find any.
So I'll look back at Grask and says, all right, doesn't look like any booby traps. I guess we can start looking.
I'm gonna check this door for traps too.
Sure, you can make a blind check as well, Pat. No, it does not seem to be trapped.
Was that chakram over like a fireplace or?
Yeah, so you notice on the west side here, there's this very large looking mantle. Think of this as being like a massive fireplace with a mantle overhead. The chakram is posted very prominently in the center.
All right. I'm gonna then search that fireplace for like loose bricks or anything.
Meaning looking for traps, essentially?
Anything like traps or a secret door or anything, that looks like it might move or be odd.
Sure, yeah, go ahead and make another investigation check, blind, as you're looking around.
I gotta keep him next time. Remind me, I gotta do that guidance thing.
As you look around carefully here for anything out of the ordinary, you do notice that there is a square of blocks, or these sort of bricks that make up the area just above the mantelpiece. And it's right where the chakram is set, and there's like sort of normal colored bricks, and then once your eye is drawn towards the chakram, more close to it, so the ring right where the chakram is, these bricks are slightly off colored. You're not sure exactly what this means or if this is of an issue, but you definitely notice it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and let's see. I think I saw Grask that he was searching as well. Go ahead and throw a check as well, Grask. Yeah, so you definitely find some odds and ends. You get the impression overall that this is like a hunting cabin. You notice in this corner there is actually a hunting trap that is just sort of snuck under the area here that you can pull out. There is some various tools. You can see like calipers. You can see some heavy leather gloves that are hanging off of a ring on the wall. Overall, again, you see animal furs, a lot of sort of odds and ends. Nothing I would say that's too valuable that sticks out to you other than the hunting trap perhaps might be of some value.
Oh, those furs for sure. Are they like scrap furs?
No, they look like they are well cured, and I'm trying to think of the appropriate term here. They look very good quality, let's put it that way.
Okay, Grask is gonna gather up the furs and the hunting trap because those seem like the most valuable things he can find.
Sure. Okay, so add hunting trap, and you can add, we'll say, 30 pounds of animal furs.
I'm
I
really,
was gonna say that's more than I thought, but I have no idea how heavy animal fur is.
I'm very much looking forward to Grask fashioning that into a coat and then wearing it around.
On the catwalk.
He will be very stylish.
And Hugo, I imagine you're remaining outside looking around for anything out of the ordinary, just trying to be posted up there in case you see anything odd.
Yeah, and like trying to think about that question, like what could make these trees look like this?
Yes, go ahead and give me a blind check as well as you're focused out here and thinking on that exact question. Yes, and as you propose this first thought, magic, and then your second thought was cold, you keep going back to this magic idea, and yes, this really sticks to you. You are confident that this was because of magic.
So he's like murmuring to himself, why is there magic being done here?
Adam, in the same room where Grask was, noticing that he was going through all the different things, the obvious things, can I do some like stomps on some floorboards to see if anything seems loose or like purposefully placed there to hide something?
Sure, yeah, go ahead and give me a blind check as you search this room for anything hidden. This time the rolls are a little bit better. You do notice underneath the bed here, there is a loose floorboard that as you're stomping around different areas, you see it kind of pops up slightly, and you realize the edge of this floorboard is accessible just outside of the bed, but it reaches underneath the bed. So essentially, as you're prying it, it would be difficult to pry it fully up with the bed where it is.
Okay, but I want to slowly release my foot down so the floorboard doesn't make like a slam or a bad creak to reveal that I found something, and just kind of log it in my memory.
Okay.
And then as I'm walking back this way, I'm going to kind of laugh at Grask and say, what do you plan to do with all those furs? Are you going to make a coat?
It depends. If winter is soon to come, it would be useful. Otherwise, we can sell them.
Do they look, according to Grady, that this cabin's been abandoned for quite some time. I know you said they were cured pretty well, but do they look like super aged, Adam, or fairly recently cured?
I would say it's pretty obvious that they're not anything recent. They don't look like they're falling apart or anything with age, but they don't look recent.
Okay, cool.
I think someone has probably been here at some point.
Why do you say that?
The more I look at those trees, it was definitely some sort of spell cast on them that did it. So, spell means somebody capable of casting spells has already been here.
Grady, does that
Or
mean
this is
anything
a
to you?
big cursed object that's just cursing everything.
That could be also.
Spells? No, I don't. Grandpa wasn't like a magic guy.
Look through that door to the north there.
Oh, that's the back entrance to the cabin.
So that leads outside.
Yeah. But don't open it. Like I said, Pop, well, he didn't trust strangers, and he made sure that you had to, well, do certain things before you open the door. Otherwise, bad stuff happened.
How long ago did the trees fall?
I don't know. Like I said, last time I was here, they were all standing up, and they looked pretty good.
Not you.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were talking to me because you didn't say a name or anything.
Harmony or Hugo. How long did the trees fall over?
I'm not sure.
Go find out.
And he'll stomp back into the room.
Grady, did your grandfather have like a outhouse or maybe like a shed for his firewood or anything on any other part of the property? I wasn't able to find anything in there. Doesn't look like you guys found anything in here.
No. He didn't have an outhouse. He used to say that he was leaving surprises for anybody that tried to steal his stuff. So if they came digging around the cabin, they would find surprises.
Okay. Did he have anywhere that he would like to go and think about these surprises that he would like to have? Like in the morning time, did he have a spot? You know, a frequent tree. Maybe he stashed it in a hollow.
Well, I know. I was gonna say right out in the woods, but it's not woods anymore because the trees are all down.
Well, that doesn't mean that if something was hidden within them that they're not still there. Could you
Well,
see if
I
maybe you
kind of
could?
remember walking through the woods. There was like a little trail, and then there was this big rock. And I remember there was a couple times being a kid, I would kind of walk that way, and he would shout and say, "I'm doing my business. Get out of here!" And we'd go back real quick.
Okay. So could you show us that rock? Because maybe, that's where he hid it. Because it doesn't look like he hid it here. I mean, this is what I did for a long time. I didn't find anything. Pen, did you find anything over there? I don't think he found anything.
No, not really.
I haven't even rolled my search yet.
If anybody would like it to search, maybe Harmony, feel free to go a blind check. All right, and you're searching this area specifically, Harmony?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Hey,
this
Harmony,
is sort of the
why don't you do
entryway,
that
and you
nip
search.
thing?
Yeah, you don't find anything of interest right here.
Grady, do you think that the box was made of precious metals or gemstones?
I don't think so. It was like a block of wood, and it was carved, and I'm trying to remember, it had these images on it that were like trees and stuff, but I think it was like all mostly wood.
Shoot. I can
You know
sniff
what
out.
always opens up wood cubes? A saw. Don't matter how hard the puzzle is.
Try breaking it open. But unfortunately, Pen, to answer your question, I can only smell the precious metals.
I don't really expect anything, but Bernard is going to try and search around this kind of corner that he's in.
Okay, yes, go ahead and throw a check.
Wait. Let me give you guidance.
Thank
All right,
you.
so as you get ready to search, you notice Pen hops off this little area here and waves his hands about, saying some magic words, touches upon you. Go ahead and roll that d4. All right, as you're searching by this bearskin rug here, Renaud. Is that Renaud? I feel like I keep pronouncing that wrong. Renaud?
No, that's it.
Renaud. Okay. As you're searching around the bearskin rug, you notice where the head of this bearskin rug is, where the mouth and the teeth are all still prominently displayed. Again, looks like this was very well maintained and cured. But as you're searching, you notice in the mouth, actually, there is sort of this blocky type shape. And as you look at it, it looks fairly dark. It's wedged back in there a ways. You could try to extract it if you wish.
He'll see it. He'll kind of squint at it, and then he'll cast Mage Hand and try and send that in. Well, after he casts it, he'll say also, I may have found something, and then he'll send it in to try and snake it out.
All right, and as you cast Mage Hand and it heads on in there and plucks this out and brings it out, there's no doubt in your mind that this is Pop Pop's puzzle box.
Oh shit! We cannot
That was
open
easy.
this. the Cenobites will come for us. Renaud does hand it or hold it up, and he says, "Does this look like what it is that you seek?"
Yes, that's it. Notice like all the carvings and the shapes and stuff. Okay, each area has to be moved very carefully to be put in exactly the right spot. I know some of them, but I don't remember them all.
Well, perhaps one of us could study this for a while and decipher some with your knowledge as well.
Or maybe you could take us back and we could retrace your path. It may be beneficial to us to follow where you went. You may have dropped it before you realized you dropped it.
No. I definitely had it when I walked through the inn. I remember feeling it. You don't want to walk all the 3 hours or so back now, do you?
Why, I'd much rather have the key, wouldn't you? I mean, otherwise it's guesswork. And that doesn't seem fun to me.
I mean, yeah, it is guesswork, but what's the chances we're going to walk back and find the pouch when we couldn't find it the whole time we were there?
What's the chances we're going to magically remember or be able to solve this within a few hours? You
Well,
know what I mean?
remember I studied the pouch carefully. I don't remember all of it, but I could do a good part of it, I bet.
All right, see what you can do there.
And he steps forward excitedly with his hands held open toward Renaud.
Here you go.
I'm gonna watch what he's doing there.
Is there a bad thing that happens if you get it wrong?
I don't think so.
No pinheaded like beings just appear out of nowhere, right?
I don't even know what that means. You notice he sits down at this long table, pulling up this little seat underneath him, and sets the puzzle box on the table. He looks at it and then closes his eyes really hard with a squint and starts making some adjustments on the puzzle box. And much to your perhaps surprise or confirmation of what he previously said, he does move some of these little shapes, little parts of what looks to be carved trees. He moves a little bit here, moves a little bit there. All together, there's areas that he's pushing on that don't even make sense. They don't look like they should be able to move, but somehow he does move them. Yes, okay, right, it's okay, that's it, and then that one? Yes, I remember this one, but okay, now I'm getting to this part. I don't remember this one as well.
I really do think it'd be beneficial if we took the time to trace your steps back.
And you say he looks back up. I don't understand what you're saying. You want to walk 3 hours back to that little village where there's people that are specifically looking for me to try to find the pouch on the ground that we couldn't find when we were there when it was dropped that soon?
All right, let's.
Well, I mean, otherwise we're just going to be sitting here taking turns trying to solve this cube with really no avail.
No, I'm making progress. I can tell. Okay, I got this part. I got that part. I just give me some time.
And remind me, when Penn revealed that he had the pouch, he only told Elliot, right? They were off by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Tap.
I think we should let him finish.
I'm going to step outside.
Hugo and let's just make sure there's nothing around the cabin.
So another one of those
And
deers.
I've motioned them all, Hugo and Elliot, to come over here. All right, and then I show him the pouch and let's see what we can figure out from this thing.
All right, so as you extract the piece of cloth that is the pouch, yeah, it looks again like a thick piece of cloth, and you realize you basically have to turn it inside out, and then you notice all of these various stitchings upon it. Much of it looks very similar to what you spotted in the puzzle box. You don't think just glancing at this would be enough to answer it, but if you put the pouch next to the puzzle box and compared them for a while, doing each one of these that is stitched in, you're pretty confident you could do everything that is described here.
I also found something in that back room while I was looking around. There's a floorboard that pops out. It's obvious it was hiding something.
Yeah, and there's some discolored bricks by this fireplace by that chakram. I bet it's a trap though.
I
know
don't think
somebody
mine was a
grabbed
trap.
it, stand
Yeah.
back from-
Well, what are we going to do here with this gentleman? I mean, are we just going to let him know that we found the cloth and use it, or leverage more money from it? What's the plan here?
I mean, right now we're getting a pretty sweet deal. All we did was get him out of the town, and we're gonna get half of whatever this thing is worth. That's pretty good. But we could theoretically just get it all if we somehow convince him to leave and then we open it. It doesn't quite feel right, though. He hasn't done anything bad to us.
Not us, but I'm
Oh,
concerned. He's being chased by a lord
I
that's
am an
well
assassin,
connected.
but no.
It's, if he's got people like that after him, then
It's got to be worth something, a lot. If that for a pouch, come on.
That's true. But right now, we could get a real easy 50% of it. Real easy. Just showed him that pouch.
We
Might
could
be
just
worth
knock
it.
him out.
Yeah,
Well-
he'd cause trouble, though, down the line if we did that.
that's true. I think Hugo brings up a good point. I didn't quite think about it that way before, but, I mean, we didn't really have to do much to get 50% of the take. Maybe we can convince him a 60-40 is a better split considering how much we went through. And,
All right, I'll tell him if he hands me that chakram. I think I might know where that pouch is.
All
Any,
right,
uh,
as you guys are discussing, back inside, he continues working on the puzzle box. Yeah, feel free to make another blind check, Grask.
as Grask is looking around, I'm gonna make my way back into that back room while he seems distracted and see if, I'm gonna be like, Grask, could you, lift this bed up here? Just lift it up. I need to get underneath it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the help action if you're gonna try and check it for traps.
I already checked it. I just need to just get in it. The geometry is not in my favor. I need someone to lift, and I need to yank.
Oh, I'm not a lifter.
A moment. I might have found something here.
And as you search Grask, you find absolutely nothing.
Okay, I'm willing to help Elliot with the bed, but as I look at the image, it looks like a hammock.
You have to remember that Elliot is he's a halfling that's the size of a gnome who is very scrawny. He's very small.
But hammocks are off the ground.
I'm zooming in more because when I first looked at it, I was just like, yeah, that's a bed. But you might be right. It might be a hammock on screen, but narratively, it is a bed.
Okay, then Grask will help lift the bed hammock up for you.
And when he does that, I'm going to try to pop that same board up at him and see if I can reach in and grab whatever's inside.
All right. As you pop open the board, unfortunately, it was trapped and you were unable to detect it. And as you pop open the board, you notice from down below shoots forth a small dart. I will need you to make a defensive roll, Elliot.
If it was poisoned, I should have smelled it, right?
It depends on how, cover and all of that through the wood.
Let me... What does the spell
Guidance
say?
was for Grady, just for the.
Okay.
It says 3 feet of wood or dirt.
You did not smell any poison.
Okie dokie. Blind check.
Defensive roll.
Gotcha.
All right, as you're standing there and you pop this open, you see this dart flies out at you at very high pace. As it does, it strikes into you, dealing 1 point of piercing damage as it seems to burrow in your arm. As you look at it very quickly, oddly enough, it looks like this dart is trying to push its way into your body.
I'm going to say, Grask, bite it. Quick, get it out.
The whole thing off.
Yeah, bite that little thing in my arm. Get it.
Yeah, I'm going to ignore him and instead grab his arm like further up and squeeze it really tight so that like whatever this is can't get further up.
So essentially you're trying to make a tourniquet here with your hands, but based on the size of the dart, you pretty quickly infer, Grask, that you would have to squeeze his arm so badly as to nearly separate it to prevent something from this small of size from shooting up his arm.
Oh, is the dart fully in? Because I might just be biting this arm.
No, you can see the end of the dart, so it sort of strikes him. So think of where the edge or the pointy part of the dart is, strikes into him, and he looks at it. Doesn't barely hurt at all, but then as he looks down at it, like mostly surprised, it actually looks like it's continuing to move in. So you can still see, I would say, probably a good half of it.
I won't bite it off just yet.
And I'll try and grab the dart.
All right, and this is a little challenging based on the size of it. Go ahead and give me a blind check. I'm going to call this sleight of hand as you try to get a hold on this and pull it out.
I'll use my inspiration.
Okay, I will give you advantage on this check. You snap it very easily as you get it right between your two clawed fingers, and it completely halts its momentum.
And I'll take it and like stick it into a wall. I assume it's like a needle, right?
So you have the back side of it, and you've prevented it from moving any farther in, but it's still halfway in his arm.
Yeah,
It's not
pull
a
it.
free action to just pull it out now.
I was just wanting to hear you say you wanted to pull it out. Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Just yank
As
it.
you pull it out, you notice an explosion of blood as the end of this dart has seemingly fanned outwards, and you have pulled it out, breaking free a huge chunk of flesh. Well, not huge, but a chunk of flesh from Elliot as blood spurts out as you suffer 7 additional damage, Elliot.
I'm going to say, ah! And with my other arm, I'm going to reach into the area where the plank was as quick as I can before I give anything away.
Meaning you're trying to hide your wound, essentially?
No, I don't care about my wound. I'm just trying to find out what was in that floorboard that was trapped.
Yes, okay. So as you pop this open, looking down below, you see a black felt bag.
Yeah, I'll snag it.
Okay, you have a black felt bag. You can hear the sound of something inside, perhaps solid at least. Hard to say exactly what it is, clinking together.
I'm going to cast Healing Word on him.
Sure, yeah, go ahead and post that. You can set yourself back to public as well, Penn, but yes, you'll get 5 back there, Elliot.
How much of that commotion did we hear, if anything?
Just checking to see where you are. Oh, yeah, based on the amount of drama I'm imagining this explosive wound had, I imagine it's quite obvious and loud.
All right. What is going on? Are you all right?
Ah, yeah. I'm okay. Woo! That one stung. I was trying to search under the bed and see if I could find anything else, and woof, big old splinter. Ouch.
Splinter, did you get it out? They will fester if you leave them in.
Grass got it for me. I'm okay. And then Pin there healed me up. Feeling that hurt. Goodness.
Nice. Good.
It grew on the way out.
I'm still holding it. What exactly does this look like now?
So I'm trying to think of a good way to describe. Think of like a Nerf dart, right? So you know how they're somewhat wide? They're not really, really narrow. So the edge of it exploded outwards and created a fan. So think of this as like a circular area of edges, all of metal and blades. So when it poked into him, it penetrated, then it fanned outward. So when you pulled it out, it was much larger than when it went in. So when you're holding it right now, it looks like a small cylindrical object where at the end it sort of fans out into more of a cone shape, made of metal.
Okay, so like an umbrella that was opened.
Yes, exactly.
Woo.
Brady, was your grandfather a cruel man?
And you see he looks back at you as he's still focused on this puzzle box. What was that? What about Grandpa?
Was he cruel?
No, he was. I got it. And you see he moves one of the edges, and suddenly you hear a hissing sound as the puzzle box pops open.
Dang it.
Any demons pop out?
No, but there is a strange bit of black smoke or mist, perhaps, that sort of fades away very quickly. And then you see he looks down, and Armony, as you are standing here next to him, as he is sitting at this table, and you're looking, you can see like almost a dazzling, dancing light in his eyes reflected on this object as he reaches in, just filled with awe, and pulls it out.
You got it open. What is it?
And you see he's staring sort of wide-eyed and open-mouthed as he holds it up by the corded area, and it spins very slowly in the little bit of light here, and he seems to be examining it from each angle.
Do you recognize it, Grady?
No, he never told me what was inside, but look at this thing. Wow.
Renaud's looking at it. Is he being mesmerized by it, or is it just pretty to look at?
Give me a blind check. You don't notice any kind of magical enchantment or anything like that as you examine him. He just seems to be enthralled, not necessarily from a magical perspective, but just very, very interested in this item.
Right. That is quite a necklace or talisman. Very intriguing.
And he nods as he looks down at it again, still very much, and he's just kind of rotating it as he looks at it from every facet. From outside, you can start to hear a bleeding sound as though from animals.
You might want to put it down till you know what it does.
What do you mean? But look
You might
at
want
it.
to close that door. I wouldn't go out there.
And as you guys start to make your way out here, both Elliot and Renaud, yes, you notice off to your west, approaching very quickly, is one of these elks. And you can see as it looks in your direction, it seems to be overcome with an aggression not like you have seen from these types of creatures in the past. And we are going to move into initiative round. And let's go ahead and put on a little bit more upbeat music here.
You got my advantage on the initiative, right?
Is it built into your character sheet? If not, you'll have to
It should be. Yeah.
Okay, so just let me make sure that it incorporates that, because this is a script and I'm not sure if it reads that field or not.
Just looking at the group initiative at the top there, it looks like his was just 17 plus his bonus.
Yeah, so I'd say roll again, and if you get higher than a 17, we'll just put you up higher.
Nope.
Definitely not. Okay, so that will be the 20.3. Okay, so I got you there. Let me resort. Okay, and we have first to act is Renaud from outside. Let me turn off the token lock and turn on more upbeat music, and then Renaud, take it away.
Okay, so I'm kind of hearing them, but I don't see them yet, so I'll just kind of walk out here a little bit and then look over. The elk are back. They are very upset, and I guess he's gonna take aim and Eldritch Blast one of them.
Eldritch Blast from a warlock? I don't think I've ever seen this before.
You know what? I have another cantrip which I think I'm going to use a lot, and I haven't. I'm going to save that one. But here's the Eldritch Blast.
Fair enough. All right, yes, make your attack. That will indeed strike as your Eldritch Blast hits into the elk.
That should have the extra damage. Oh, you know what? There's like 3 Eldritch Blasts on my list for some reason. So add +4 to that. I fixed it on one of them, and I didn't, I guess, on that one.
No worries. I've taken off a total of 5.
There you go. Oh, man. I should have hexed him first. I'll save it for now. There are... Grask, come out. There are many dinner opportunities. And he'll head back this way, and that's his turn.
Okay, next up is Pen.
So you guys should just shut that door. I'm going to move over here and take out my rapier and reach as far as I can and flick that chakram off the wall.
Okay, you managed to do so. Yeah, the chakram flips off to the wall, or flips off onto the ground and kind of rattles there for a moment. You notice as you pull your rapier back, there's a slight bit of sticky substance on it, and you can see those discolored bricks have been slightly modified as far as their color configuration.
I knew it. All right, that's the end of my turn.
Okay, next up is Elliot.
Alrighty, Elliot is going to take out his trusty crossbow Isabel, and he is going to line up a shot on said elk.
Your shot connects. The bolt punctures into the elk's chest, wounding it, but you see no sign of stopping from the elk.
And I'm going to remove my remaining movement to here. Oh, I'll shout, there's another one on this side.
All right, you hear the sound of hoofs moving as the shape gets closer to you, Elliot. And we move up to Hugo's turn.
Okay. I yell out, Elliot, just get back inside. And I'm going to cast telekinetic trip on this one.
Telekinetic trip, that's a new... Is this the shove one or something new?
This is a new...
oh, nice. Yeah, go ahead and post that. Let's take a peek.
Yeah, it makes them really high and they learn empathy.
Okay, go ahead and give me a spell effect roll here, Hugo, as you try to knock the elk off of its feet and knock it prone. That will succeed, as you do indeed knock, using your telekinesis, knock it off of its feet and it falls prone.
Alright, I go, there's a bunch of them out there. Everyone, get ready. We gotta close this door when they come in. And I will move here, and that's the end of my turn.
Okay, we move to Grask then.
Okay, I'm not trying to get too much free information. We've been in this cabin for probably 10 minutes.
At least, yeah.
Can I tell if the wood in here is very, like, brittle, like the wood outside that we saw? Do I think that, and I saw a creature run past here, do I think that the walls of this place would survive contact with one of those things? And if I don't know, I don't know.
I would say, based on what you've seen so far, you don't detect any structural weaknesses of the cabin walls.
Okay, I am going to step up either way. I'll take one more step out.
inside.
And I'll. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna reply, we either gotta fight them now or fight them later.
We'll use the building.
I'll step here and prepare an action to attack any elks and not elkians that come into range.
Nice play. Okay, Elliot, you notice coming around the north side is the largest elk you have ever seen. It turns and looks at you and snorts a huge bit of hot air, which connects with the cold air outside, making steam. It claws its hoof at the ground and then viciously charges right towards you. As it charges right towards you here, trying to strike into you, I will need you to make a defensive roll, please. Yes, you spot it coming in this other direction, and you are managed to roll out of the way as it lowers its head and antlers just swing over you violently.
None of us inside can see it, but we can see the selector around it from the inside, and it was so big.
It is pretty big elk, yes. Harmony.
What is going on out there?
The deer are attacking.
Why? What did you guys do?
He touched the amulet, I think, or whatever that thing is.
Okay, it's kind of tough not being able to see what's going on out there, but, I can step into the same square as my...
You can share a space with them, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to cast Entangle.
Okay, Entangle is one of our smart AoE spells, so feel free to use that option, and you'll be able to put it where you like.
Okay, Adam, just so you know, I think we all have vision of that marker. So now we can see all the elks around the building.
Say what now?
We all have vision of the marker that Harmony is moving around, so we can see the elks now.
Oh,
From-
no
Yeah,
kidding. I did not know that.
Yeah, it took away the yeah. But I'm still putting it only where I was able to see before, so. Wait, what do I hit? Trigger all?
Yes, trigger all.
Okay. I don't.
He will fail that save and find himself entangled, and that area will be difficult terrain. So what I'll do is I will remove this just so there's no confusion about who can see what, and I will draw a line to represent what it is that is covered by the entangle. I believe that's where she had it. So he is entangled and restrained by that magic, and we will move to the next elk. Okay, Elliot, you notice the elk moving down pretty quickly here, and crunches on some of these dead trees as it gets to here. As we move to Grady's turn inside, he is panicking very much so, as he will back away more over to this corner to avoid getting any closer to the animals. Okay, then we move to the top of the next round with Renaud.
Okay, Renaud. Let's see. He's gonna have to see over here. He does have vision. Let's. You know what? He's gonna actually cast Bless using what's it called? Fate Touched. Yeah. So he's gonna cast Blessed, which is a once a day right now on himself, Grask, and who's more likely to actually shoot? And Pen. So the three of us have Bless on ourselves right now, and I'll click it here momentarily.
Yep, that should be built in as an attack for you, so it will burn that resource.
Nice.
All right, each of you guys that was just blessed, feel free to throw an icon on your token representing that you're blessed, and if you already have that global modifier built in, go ahead and check that so it will automatically add to your rolls.
And just in case we have to have some close encounters with the elks, I'm going to also cast Shillelagh on my quarterstaff, which is a bonus action.
Okay.
And that will be Renaud's turn.
Okay, next up is Pen.
Does Renaud still have that pendant thing?
Grady is currently holding
Grady,
onto the talisman.
Grady.
Yeah.
That's the Grady. What do you think? Should we just throw the...
You cut out there.
Oh, I was thinking, maybe we just throw the talisman out there and let them deal with it.
No, that's the prize.
Alright.
You gotta take this to the cave. That's what Grandpa said.
Alright, I'll hop up here on this table. And other side of the table. Alright, I can see that deer now, and I will shoot it.
Okay, so currently have rapier in hand, so it sounds like you're going to drop that to the ground and then pull your crossbow out and fire.
It's a short bow, but no, I will actually stow the rapier
Okay, interact with object to stow rapier.
and cast a sacred flame on the deer.
Okay, sacred flame on the deer. Go ahead and post that. And throw me a spell effect roll, please. And just as a reminder, with your token selected, you should see spell effect roll as one of your token actions. There you go. Yep, that will certainly hit. As the radiant energy falls down, it does indeed wound the elk. Okay, Elliot, you are face to face with this massive elk. What do you do?
Alright, Elliot is going to disengage with a nifty little ninja roll backwards. And seeing the other one is entangled, he's going to make his way back. And then inside, and as he scrambles underneath Grask's leg and kind of rolls into the room, he says, "Woo, that is the mother of all elk out there. I tell you what, if they want to come in, they're going to come in. That thing is massive. Woo!" And action to disengage, that's all I got for now. Actually, yeah, no.
All right, you notice that the elk here that is restrained by these vines is doing its best as can to break free of these. Harmony, give me another spell effect roll, please. It manages to break free of these vines as its action, uses half of its movement to stand up, and then scurries out of this area.
I was kind of hoping it meant like away.
Next up is Hugo.
Hugo is going to shut the door, I think, right?
The script should work now, so if you step into Grask's spot and hit your open closed door, it should close for you. Okay, with the door closed, you can definitely hear the sound of them bleeding outside and scraping at the ground, and maybe a bit of clawing or horns, antlers against the edges. But no, these walls do seem to be sturdy, and it doesn't look like these elk have any intention of trying to literally break through the wall. So, with that in mind, I will go ahead and end combat here, guys.
Hey, Grady, why don't you put that thing back in that box?
But I don't know if we'll ever be able to get it open again. Are you sure?
You just opened it, man.
But did you see how long it took me?
It's not that long. Did you see the deer out there trying to get it?
I didn't see him, no.
It seems like they were trying to get it even when it was in the box because there were hoof marks on the door.
Yeah, but it seemed to make him a lot angrier after it's been out.
That's
Look,
some
all I'm
weird
saying
magic.
is we're going to have to kill those deer. I mean, we ain't making it far. We got to make it to some cave. Yeah, we got to kill those deer. So, are we formulating a plan and then running back out there?
Also, those deer aren't the ones that cast the magic on the trees, as far as I could tell. Something probably had to cast that magic at those elk to get past it.
I would like to speak with the deer or the elk and figure out why they're drawn to this.
You can
Alright,
try,
How would you? Yeah, how would you
but,
like to attempt that?
Can we sit here for what is it, an hour so I can cast a ritual spell?
10 minutes plus the casting time of the spell.
Oh, only 10 minutes. You guys got 10 minutes?
Well, look, Harmony, look,
20
all
minutes?
of y'all are inside. You know what I mean? Y'all are in here. You didn't look at them. You didn't see the eyes. Those are beyond talking to. Have you ever noticed elk charge at anyone like they are being compelled outside of their normal abilities? I know you may think that you can just go out there and talk to them, but you may be setting yourself up to be brutally beaten.
Are you
Yeah.
saying you don't have 10 minutes?
I'm saying I got 10 minutes, but if we're walking out there and they don't speak back, you gotta understand that we're gonna kill them.
Yeah, I think, though, that
I
maybe we
understand.
should see if we put that thing back in the box. Do they calm down?
Yeah, let's try it.
I think what Elliot is saying is that mating season ended, and these are the ones that lost.
Yep, that sums it
Okay.
up.
That was what you were saying. All right.
Harmony's gonna start casting.
It seems to me this might be a time to renegotiate our split. Brady, you're free to leave with that amulet. If you think you'll live.
You see, he looks towards the talisman, looks back up at you, looks at the box, looks back. But I have to get it to the cave. That's what Grandpa said.
Then we'll take the talisman, and you can have these pelts.
No. Grandpa said this was my birthright.
Tell
You're
you
gonna
what,
have to help us fight.
I'm
about-
not much of a fighter, I gotta be honest.
Either we split 50-50 and you fight with us, or we split 75-25 and you stay in here safe.
That doesn't sound fair at all. We don't even know how much thing is worth yet.
You didn't see that elk outside. That thing was massive. It was the size of your damn cabin.
You see, he starts looking around at the cabin with like shock. Are you serious?
Pretty damn close. It was massive. I was all I could do. Luckily, my grandfather was a tiny, tiny man, so I was able to hide and get out of the way. But whether we hide this puzzle or not, when we leave these doors, we're going to be either followed by men who cast magic, as Hugo believes, or we're gonna have to fight off these damn elk. Now, if you ain't gonna participate in defending yourself to get your birthright, I think you owe us a large chunk of that birthright for doing it all for you.
Give me a persuasion check blind here, Elliot.
Can I assist him if I say a really cool line?
Let's hear the line.
Another day fighting to survive. This is the freedom you wanted, Brady.
Almost, but since you got his name wrong, it doesn't have the same weight. All right, as you say this to him, you notice he kind of looks at you again, this new disguise of his face and everything looking different. He shakes his head once again. No. I'm really thankful and all, but like I said, I have to get this to the cave. If we get this to the cave, then we can see what my grandpa wanted the whole time for me, and I promise, whatever it is, I'll be fair.
I think we must. This bartering is just going to slow us down. Either way, I think the elk are riled up now. Why don't we just get to the cave, see what happens, and then go from there?
All right, quickly checking with Harmony here. Were you wanting to cast this as a ritual, meaning 20 minutes, or you're casting it regularly 10 minutes? Or actually, I'm sorry, it's an action. It's the duration is 10 minutes. So action, or you were doing a ritual for 10 minutes to complete it?
Ritual.
Ritual. Okay. So yeah, you guys have some time in here as you're discussing back and forth, and Harmony is continuing to motion with her hands and verbally incant this magic. Is there anything else anybody would like to do during this time?
I'm stuck in the door. Could you
I would like
unstick
for
me?
him to
Yeah,
put the thing back in the box.
I'm gonna step into this room and change my weapon from my crossbow to my sword and shield. But as I put the crossbow away, I want to check inside that black felt bag that I found real quick and see if I can see what was in that bag.
You see 4 different gemstones here, all different colors.
Okay, I will tuck that into my backpack, make sure it's secure, tie it really tight, and then draw my shield. And as I walk out, I'll do my little bonus action, teleport the scimitar to my hands and start flexing it a little bit as I wait for Harmony to finish.
Grask is going to gather up I think you said it was a bear pelt on the ground?
There are various pelts here. Most seem to be elk, but yeah, there is this one bear pelt that's prominently displayed as a rug.
Okay, he's going to gather that up. He's pretty much going to loot this place as they're waiting.
All right, fair enough. And you see this look on Grady's face as you guys are talking about fair splits and you're stripping down everything his grandfather ever owned from his cabin.
Did Penn pick up the chakra? Because I'll pick that up too.
I think it's still on the ground.
I think it's covered in some kind of poison. You might want to pour some water on it from a water skin before you pick it up.
I can just smell it. If you think it's got poison on it, I'll be able to tell you in a matter of seconds.
You
I'll
do
get
not
Some kind of
smell any
sticky
poison.
substance.
Yeah, it ain't poisoned. You should be good.
I'll pick that up too.
All right, as you pick it up, you do notice there is this sticky substance upon it, and it wants to adhere to your fingers. Because there's only a very, very small amount here, as Penn was able to pull it away with his rapier, a very thin blade, it's nothing that's going to have an impact on you, but you realize if much more of this was on you, it might actually stick you to the wall, for example, or force you to be stuck to something else.
Okay, and yeah, so Grass just keeps gathering stuff up to bring with them.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else during this 10-minute window before Harmony's spell completes?
I'll get my short bow out, I guess.
Okay, and was there a team consensus on whether or not you were requesting Grady put the talisman back in the puzzle box?
I vote no.
Why?
'Cause he
We can
scared
always
me.
open it.
His line about not being able to get it out again scared me.
No, don't worry about it. We can get it out again. Trust me.
Yes, I think we try it.
Okay. So he sighs a little bit disappointed as he fits it back in very neatly and then turns the puzzle box a bit before it snaps shut. As it snaps shut, you notice almost a bunch of movement suddenly as it goes through the puzzle box like a wave, as all these little different pieces of it seem to be randomly changing. Okay, and Armony, your Speak with Animals ritual complete.
Maybe they're calm now, Harmony. Go check it out.
Perhaps just shut through the door first to see if they respond. Libby, I don't think we heard you. There you go.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Delay on my computer. I guess, yeah, I'll say, anybody out there? I'm unsure how to use the spell because I haven't used it before, so.
Yeah, so essentially you can speak with beasts. As it mentions there in the text, they are limited in what they can say based on their intelligence, but they can speak back to you, and you might be able to persuade them to perform a favor, is always an option. As you say that, you will hear from the front of the door a snort, and then hear, "Yes."
What do you want?
And you hear a deep inhale. "You go."
Will you allow us safe passage?
"No harm, brother."
Am I your brother?
"No, brother. Arrow. Fly. Hurt."
Who shot an arrow at them?
Oh, that would be me.
Yep, I also shot
Hit
one.
him.
I shot one as well.
It's just kind of scaring him away a little bit, you know.
Hey, are you trying to get in here?
"You go."
Tell me.
You hear the sound of a deep scent again. "Go. Take. Go."
We must all go safely. Brothers included.
"No shoot. No stomp."
Sounds like a plan. Well, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that means we're good, right?
And I cautiously open the door.
You hear, as you're getting closer to the door, you can hear the sound of this very massive beast moving backwards. And as you get the door fully open and look down there, you see this ginormous elk looking at you, and that steam still coming out of his nostrils as he lowers his eyes. He does not seem to be nearly as aggressive as Elliot may have described him before, but it does look like he's sort of on a razor's edge here, watching you very intently.
Grady, get over here.
They say you're going to allow all of us to leave safely.
"No shoot. You go."
Harmony, ask why they decided to charge us in the first place.
Oh, what happened to those trees? Did they see anything?
What happened to those trees?
Give me a blind check here, Harmony, as you try to persuade the giant elk to give you this information. You notice he looks back towards the downed trees and then back towards you, and you can actually see moisture seeming to gather on his face, and spittle flies from his mouth as he speaks very emphatically. "Die from house. You take. Go."
Die
But-
from house you take go.
Drask, stick near that Grady guy in case he tries to make a break for it.
Everybody stick together. Do not go wandering around.
As Vernod runs off.
Brady, maybe I should hold the box to keep it safe.
No. This is my birthright. Like I said, this is my gift from grandfather.
If that's what makes them angry, do you really want to be holding it?
Yes, it's the last thing I have that is connected to him. I'd rather die than lose this.
I'm currently holding so much of his grandpa's stuff, like walking out of the house.
That is true.
Covered in pelts. I've got Pop's chakram on my belt.
Grady, which direction is the cave?
To the west. I'll show you. And you see he steps out very nervously as he's cradling this puzzle box close to his body, motioning away from this elk as he looks very carefully. And yeah, starts making his way over here. Safe to say you guys are all going to follow Grady?
Yep.
All right, guys, you are able to extricate yourself from this dangerous situation with just a simple ritual spell and maybe putting the talisman back in the box. But you evade having to fight this combat as you guys find yourself back in the open world and on your way to this cave that Grady has described to you. But guys, that is where we'll go ahead and end it for tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed this session. A bit more heavy on the role play with these homebrew installments in between our delves into the Scarlet Citadel. I hope you guys like this. If you have any feedback on these homebrew sessions, feel free to send them my way. And yeah, great session, guys. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks.
Good,
That was
guys.
good.
Thank you.
No, great game, everybody.
The elk
Next
didn't
week,
kill us.
yeah. I don't know if you guys, because we're going to this cave, if somebody's gonna play my token, but if I die, don't forget to take that felt bag.
Don't worry, we'll loot you.
I was going to say, if there's one thing you can count on from these guys, it's to loot anybody that drops. So.
Kresk will be all over it.
All right, good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.